Hey everyone, this is Alec from Reddit's Hex Encounter community. Thanks for joining me again tonight on Wargame Wednesday as I stream a new title from Hollandspiele called NATO Air Commander, Strategic Solitaire Air Command in World War III. I've not yet streamed a title by Hollandspiele. This is a new company for me. I've only picked up a few of their titles. If you're not familiar with them, one thing is that they haven't been around very long, so you may not have come across them yet. They have an interesting business model where they are really more of a utilizing the trend in the publishing industry towards print on demand to lower their costs and to have smaller overhead since they don't have to do enormous print runs and only gamble on sure things. And so they can do smaller titles and have a wider variety of kind of niche war games. And so for me, I'm very happy about this because I find this just to be a fascinating little topic, which probably wouldn't get a lot of attention in wargaming otherwise. So, as stated, it's a solitaire war game where the player assumes the role of the air commander of the NATO forces, and so he's responsible for he or she will be responsible for planning the Allied air efforts, and through that follow a Soviet surprise attack and invasion of Eastern Europe. Before we get too far into the game, I do want to say if you are joining the stream, please do report in. I'd like to see folks saying hi in the chat. Let me know that you're here and let me know if you have any questions or what you think as we get going. And also, I'd like to thank all of you. Due to your patronage, I have made the ranks of Twitch affiliates, and so that's pretty neat. I'm not quite sure I completely understand everything that's entailed with that, but there might be a little bit of support in getting the stream going. So at any rate, thank you all very much for your continued support. So this game is played over a series of 10 rounds, 10 game turns here on this track. There are a number of status tracks that go over various resources that you'll have, RP being just generic resource points. PGMs are your precision guided munitions. In the modern context, you could think of these as like JDAMs for those of you that are familiar with our recent high precision munitions. Of course, in the setting of this war, we'd be thinking maybe some of the laser guided munitions or other highly accurate compared to dumb bombs, but still fairly low density in a given theater. DEED and OCA are two acronyms that might be new to you if you don't do a lot of air wargaming or not have read up a lot on Air Force doctrine. DEED is an acronym for Destruction of Enemy Air Defenses, DEAD, which is very similar to the acronym SEED, or Suppression of Enemy Air Defenses. So DEED actually represents destroying the capability of the facilities of your adversary to knock you out of the sky or prohibit your use of the sky. So DEED could be early warning radars, it could be surface-to-air missiles, it could be guidance systems for said missiles, etc. OCA is offensive counter-air. And from a doctrine standpoint, this includes both offensive air-to-air engagements for the purpose of maintaining air superiority, and also airstrikes, and the way that this game really interprets it is airstrikes that degrade the enemy's ability to conduct actions in the air. So offensive counter-air. The right side of the display is dominated by a situation display. These red counters represent the Soviet forces and their strength. The blue forces are the Allied forces and their strengths. And I'd say let's just kind of get into it and start playing through the sequence of play and see how this goes. So we will be playing today the tactical surprise scenario, which is the medium of the scenarios in terms of complexity and difficulty. I have the starting forces already arrayed. One of the scenario special rules here is some random number of these units. In this case, 3 were I selected as being damaged at start perhaps representing the initial offensive counter-air capabilities of the Soviet assault. And so this is now how I've chosen to start. In general, having the F-16s be damaged isn't too terribly problematic. So we've done that. I have some follow-on forces ready to go. I've set up the resolution cards on the top of the display, which represent the Warsaw Pact follow-on forces. And so we'll just get started here. Now, on turn 1 of this scenario, the special rules are we'll skip the first 4 phases: objective, recon, planning, and resolution. So coming back here on the play aid side of the manual for the sequence of play, we're going to skip objective, recon, planning, and resolution, and pretty much just give ground combat and reinforcements. So we're going to draw a card for each of these thrust lines. And these resolution cards really do the random effects for everything that's in the game. So here we're going to look at the attack resolve. Oh wow, that's a huge number. That is actually really good. Okay, so you look at this attack resolve, and you add this number to the number showing on the blue force chit adjacent to the Soviet forces. So 3 plus 6 is 9. In this case, we compare it to this strength of 4. We exceed it, so the Soviet forces lose a pip, and we exceeded it by more than double, so they would be forced to retreat. Since they can't retreat any further than their starting position, they lose another pip. It's actually kind of the best starting pull I've had in this game. Now we'll go down here to the Bravo line of attack. I see I have attack resolve of 1. That's going to be bad. So 1 added to the 3 that I have here is 4. 4 matches 4, which means that my force is removed. The Soviets advance, earning themselves 2 victory points. Now examining Charlie. That's fine. 2 and the 4 I started with is 6, which is more than my Warsaw adversary, so we'll pip them down to 4. Let's see, Delta, we'll do that one as well. 2, that's what I was hoping for, which again gives me a margin of 1 on the Soviets. Let's see, coming down here to Echo. 3, not bad. So that doesn't quite give me a 2-to-1, so that'll just be 1 pip. And then finally, this one here. 1, not enough, so I will lose my forces. And again, the Soviets will get 2 victory points. So that is the opening salvo. 2 of the Soviet forces come off of their staging areas and begin the invasion, earning themselves 4 victory points and eliminating 2 of my defenders. In general, actually, I'm pretty okay with this. The most important spots on this map, really, for both victory points and for resources, are these ones marked up here with 3 plus RP. This actually, control of these cities gives me a resource point each turn. So I really want to make sure that these 4 lines of advance are strong enough to keep the forces from coming and capturing the cities that give me the resources. This one, I'm more okay with losing. Okay, so that was the ground combat phase. Now we'll see what reinforcements happen. And so I already dealt out reinforcement cards. We'll go across the top. Alpha receives, now I come here to the Warsaw Pact reinforcements, 4 reinforcements, bringing them from 2 to 6. Okay, Bravo receives shuffle, so he gets nothing. And we won't now shuffle this deck until we exhaust this. You only shuffle it if you're drawing a card and a shuffle comes up. Charlie receives 3. 7. Delta receives 3. Oops. Delta was at 4, so they are now at 7. Ugh. Echo receives 5. They go from 2 to 7. And finally, Foxtrot receives 4. Well, I had some good combats here, but a whole bunch of garbage reinforcement pulls. Now that I've done those reinforcements, I draw 6 new reinforcements to set the stage for next turn. This deck is going to be shuffled quite a bit in a playthrough, like many times. So one might be inclined to sleeve them. I'd have to say the quality of these cards really is high enough where even after having played 3 or 4 times, I'm not noticing wear on the cards. I'm perfectly fine bridge shuffling them, no issues whatsoever. So quite happy with the production quality of this game. Okay, now finally draw 1 for NATO using the NATO reinforce value. So I actually will reinforce 5. I get 5 pips to assign to any army of my choosing. All right, so here's the deal. You can have 7 pips on an army. 7 combat factors for them. And if the Warsaw Pact wins by, if they tie you or beat you, you lose all of those pips in the advance. And so you really do want to consider, like for instance here, if I did want to reinforce line Echo, I've got a 7 facing a 2. Like maybe I don't reinforce this leading 2 and I just acknowledge that they are going to get chewed up. But maybe I do drop those a little bit further back. That way I have some time to build up. With 5, I can start to shore up a few of these lines of advance. I'll take advantage on the little pause we got here on Bravo. With that shuffle card being drawn, that's enough for me to run some forces up. I'll take him from 2 to 4, and now I'm pretty certain that I'm going to hold Bravo for a turn. I have 3 factors left to do. I really don't like any of my options. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop all 3 factors here in the folded gap and bring this from 4 to 7. The important part is to kind of, at least in my last playthrough where I achieved a minor victory, start locking down a couple of these, just a very few at a time, okay? And once you can kind of lock down these, at least achieve parity with the Russians, you stall the advance and you can move attention to other sectors. But you don't have the resources or the intention to stop the red wave coming all together, but you can stop it in pieces. Okay, and then the final bit that happens here that isn't explicitly on the player aid is the NATO air reinforcement. So air units scheduled to arrive this turn are placed in the basing box. And so actually now at this stage, the turn 1 reinforcements that I get actually enter the map. And I'll get those here. Okay. So I'm going to just take a brief pause while we do this to do my sorting method. I like to kind of stack these in 3 columns. We can look real quick here at, say, one of these tornadoes and see the various combat factors and discuss them real quick. The first number is the anti-air rating. The second number is the close air support rating. Third number is the strike rating. Now in this game, suppression of enemy air defenses and destruction of enemy air defenses are kind of the same thing as close air support, which is maybe one nit to pick with this game, but as far as making the game playable, it's fine. Whereas strike is for other types of missions and air-to-air is for combat escort. The type of resolution is listed here. So for air escort, we'll resolve that as air. For seed and close air support, we'll resolve that using the ground attack values. And then for hitting the deed and the OCA tracks, we'll use those as strikes. So anyway, so I like to kind of bin these as units that are going to be doing certain jobs. So for instance, this unit, the F-117 are my primary strike aircraft, so I'll place those here. My F-15s are my primary air-to-air. I'll place those there. The hogs here are going to be my primary cast platforms, so I'll go ahead and place those up here. These, let's see, what are those? Those 252s listed there are Harriers. Those are also pretty fantastic close air support platforms. I'll drop these here. And I'll bring over the F-15s. Okay. So I kind of have my forces now somewhat sorted. Easy to use. All right, so that covers the reinforcement phase. And now we do random events, which is just draw and resolve the event. Okay, Italian reinforcements. This is actually really good. All NATO forces on thrust line Foxtrot are increased by 1. That's probably not going to help me, but it's better than a poke in the eye. Okay, so that's random events. Now we do the resource phase. You start the game with no resource points. That's here at 0. We'll earn 1 resource point for each of these forces still in their starting box. So that's 4 resource points for holding off to this point. Next, we'll earn 1 resource point for each 3 victory point cities still in our control. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all of them. That'll give me the 8 resource points. Furthermore, you would earn resource points if you can max out either of these tracks, which I'm not doing at this point. So with 8 resource points to spend, I kind of have to think about what I want to use them on. At this stage, well, let me start with starting to churn my damaged units back into the rotation. So I'll go ahead and spend at least 2 of these resource points. Let me grab this 6 over so I can bring an F-16 and an Alpha over and start those as being repaired. And now I'm going to pause briefly as I consider what I want to do with the rest of these points. I think what I want to do is I want to spend 2 resource points to bring in an ace pilot. Okay, so these are essentially going to allow me to redraw a card 1 time if a pilot that's participating in a mission pulls a card that I don't want them to have. So I'll spend 2 resource points there for the pilot. So that was 8 to 6 for fixing a little bit of damage, 2 for the pilot. I could do 3 more to get another precision guided munition to 4, and I'll go ahead and bring over this other F-16. Okay, so it will be another turn before these forces are available. Let's see what I can do with them. So that is the end of the resource phase. I've spent, now we'll do the turn end phase. Not a lot to do here since I didn't do anything in this turn, and that will end the turn. So now we'll move to game turn 2. Now finally we get some agency now that the war has started. We'll start by pulling our objectives. In most of these allied combatant commander frameworks, the air commander is a supporting commander for a lot of the ground efforts. So these are the major thrusts, we could say, that the coalition forces commander wants to do. The U.S. 5th Corps is going to be doing its counterattack along thrust line Charlie, again trying to punish the forces that started, and the 2 Corps is going to be counterattacking here in Echo. So these are going to be the big thrust lines. That's where we're really pushing. If I am able to get 2 hits in close air support on Echo, I'll receive 2 resource points and force a retreat. If I can do 4 hits in Charlie, I'll get 5 resource points. Alternatively, if I miss either of those, I'll be losing some resource points. So this early in the game, I don't know if I'm going to have enough tools in my pocket to do all of these, but I'll try what I can. All right, we're now in the recon phase. So for recon, this is an abstraction for all of the tactical and strategic air reconnaissance that you're going to have. The availability of satellites, the availability of standoff recon platforms or overflight, say by an SR-71 or something. So we're going to be pulling these. I will choose the thing that I want to resolve, and I will pull a card and check the air intercept value. The effectiveness of my recon is 6, and so I need to pull a 5 or lower for this to work. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare that I want to do a decapitation strike. I want to essentially locate the enemy headquarters so I can start to attack it and disrupt it. So I will attempt to find the enemy headquarters. I'll pull the card 9. That did not work, and now all of my recon is done for the turn. So I just don't have enough control of the air right now. Really going to force me to want to start working this OCA track. Okay. Excuse me. And so these are going to be the points now actually where the chat room can help me out a lot. If you've got ideas or things you want to try or things you like to see, go ahead and say that in the chat. Let me know, if there's something that you think we should try, and we'll go for it. One thing that we're going to consider doing now that it's turn 2 is offensive electronic warfare. And this is kind of represents aircraft that are designated to fighting in the electronic battle space, if you will. And so hypothetically, if I take 2 of these F-16s and I apply them to offensive EW, I'll move the OCA track temporarily up 1 to 1. I would subtract the number on the OCA track from whatever air intercept number I pulled on the relevant card. So effectively, I start making things that much easier for me to do. In the build-up scenario, I would be quite inclined to do this right away, because you want to be working further and further into the right on the OCA track. But this is my first time playing the surprise scenario, and I'm just not sure I'm going to have enough resources to do what I want to do. So let's play this out a little bit. I do have 4 precision guided munitions. That will be helpful. So let me do this. Let me drop a stealth fighter with precision guided munitions. Stack those together, and I'm going to put those against the OCA track. Okay, as the primary. I'll decrement my munitions by 1, and I will give him no escort and no seed. If he's just flying by himself, he's got a chance of things going sideways, but all in all, it's going to be pretty okay. So we're going to do that, and when that resolves, the PGM doubles the applicable rating, and so in this case, we'd be doubling the strike value from 6 to 12, and at 12, I would be doing 2 hits of damage to OCA, bringing it from here to 1. That's fine. My next strike mission that I want to do is I do want to start going against these enemy air defenses with strike. And I've got 2 beautiful strike platforms here, which should be my F-111 aardvarks. Let me just confirm that that's indeed what those are. Yeah, that's an F-111F and an F-111E. I'm just going to attack these, light, essentially tactical bombers or tactical strike aircraft. If I put the 2 of them together, their totals sum to 15, which would be 3 hits, which is typically the max number of hits that you can get in any given strike. So they'll be primary. Now, regrettably, these guys are quite visible to enemy radar and quite susceptible to the enemy fighters, unlike how the stealth aircraft is modeled. So we're going to begin doing what is referred to as force packaging. Those are the 2 units that are going to be responsible for the mission part of the raid, but they are not going to get there without a little bit of help. So if we drop, say, an F-15 wing as air escort, they will provide their 8 air combat factors to attempt to help that deed strike. If I then take an A-10 and drop it here in the seed column, these aircraft would be responsible for suppressing the enemy air defenses in and around this primary target and make that likely to happen. So this would be a U.S.-led force strike, suppressing those defenses. I'm just thinking forward about how this is going to play out. Let's say I do the OCA first and that succeeds. I'll move the OCA track here to 1. Which means that I need a 9 or under. I take it back, an 8 or under for this guy to succeed, since I lose on ties. But the 1 offsets that 8 value for me. The one I'd be more worried about here is the seed. I'm just not thrilled with how that is likely to go for me. So I think what I'm going to do is, instead of allocating the 810 here, I'm going to allocate a Harrier, but I'm going to do so with a precision guided munition. So by giving him a precision guided munition, I've doubled his 5 combat factors to 10, and now I'm incredibly likely to succeed on this seed aspect of the mission. Alternatively, I could allocate another Harrier towards it, but I really don't think I want to have enough aircraft to have that happen. Okay, so those are those missions. Now I have to think about, do I want to do any close air support missions attacking any of these forward lines of battle? The answer is yes, I think. I think I do. And let's see what we're going to do here. Raid 1 is going to have an escort for sure. Someone is going to try and suppress the defenses. And here's actually where we can use some of these to our advantage. You don't need a Herculean number to have this work. Any non-zero ground strike rating will cause a hit in a close air support mission. So the 2 here from this multi-role F-16 would give me 1 hit. It's anything 5 or less causes a hit. So this would cause the same number of hits as this 5 factor here on the Harrier. So really, either one is equally efficient. I'd much rather use these Harriers, say, in a seed roll where I do really care about that number. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll drop a F-16 here, and that will be a close air support mission. And let's say targeting... well, it really looks like they want me to go for Charlie. I can't say they're wrong. So, yeah. So let's say we do that. I can allocate up to 3 raids, close air support raids per enemy force. All right, now let me do another one here. Let's say I allocate an A-10 and a Tornado. They will be together, the primary, giving me 10 combat factors. I'll give them an escort, maybe. If. Yeah, give them an escort and give them a seed. That would give me... See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm like just not having enough to do what you want to do. I have 4 forces left. I'd really like to do this offensive electronic warfare, but I don't think I've got the spare forces to do it. In fact, I know I don't. So what I can do is I can say, forego the offensive electronic warfare. You know what? What's this guy want to go against? Echo? 5 core I think is not going to happen, but I think I can go after Echo. But 2 hits on Echo really won't do enough. So the way that the combat's going to be resolved is any hits I get in close air support help me when I do that combat resolution. So 2 here plus 2 hits is a 4. It's going to require a huge card pull for that to actually do anything. I think I'm probably going to lose both of these and get no resources this turn. I think that's what's going to happen. But if that does happen that way, I think then I can still maybe make a difference if I allocate the raids in a useful manner. So if I come up to here, these 3 hits for the close air support up on Alpha would actually stall should stall out that advance. And I've got a pretty good chance of stalling out Charlie, and that's and a pretty good chance of stalling out Bravo right now. So I think that's what I do. I think I further do some... You know, I'm going to mix this up. Offensive electronic warfare. That immediately increases OCA by 1. I think instead, I am only going to run 2 casts, but I think I'm going to run 2 more effective casts. These 2 units together make that 10 combat factors. So each of these, if they succeed, will give me 2 for a total of 4, and I can actually get the resources. So I think I will go here for Charlie. Which leaves me 1 leftover F-16. I think I'll allocate that leftover F-16 to suppression. Maybe. Let's allocate that F-16 to air escort. A really good air escort on this raid. This probably won't work, but we're just going to give it a try. I still have my ace pilot to allocate, and I think what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and allocate that to raid 1. Okay. So now we get to resolve these. We get to resolve these in any order we would like. I'm going to resolve the stealth strike against the OCA first. I'm looking for a 10 in the top 2 values. I do not have a 10, which means that the raid goes fine. So this OCA raid succeeds, causing 2 hits on OCA. I now go from the 1 to the 2 track. So I'll be taking 2 off of all the OCA checks. Now I'll resolve this raid. Starting with the air component, I'm going to be resolving this at -2. So that's very good. 9 minus 2 is 7. 7 is 1 under my value of 8. So we have succeeded the air, which we would not have had I not had the combined offensive electronic warfare and the stealth strike on OCA. So this guy blew up a couple of control towers, maybe ammo revetments, something. He disrupted that combat effort. Now we're going to look here at seed. There's a precision guided munitions, so this is against 10. And that value is a 0 for the ground defense. So this raid succeeds in its entirety, causing 3 hits to deed. 1, 2, 3. All right, so all of the raids that I'm running for the rest of the time here will be subtracting 1 off of their ground defense value and 2 off of the air intercept value. That's pretty good. So let's resolve raid 1. Starting with air escort at -2. 1 minus 2 is fine, so that succeeds. Now resolving ground combat at -1 against the 7. Okay, this is why we did this. So that's a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. That would cause a mission failure. I will go ahead and expend this pilot to allow me to re-roll that effectively. So now I'll re-roll. That is a 2. So now this succeeds. This is why we got that ace pilot. So that causes, raid 1 causes 2 hits against this force. And so I will mark raid 1 as having succeeded. Mark 2 hits against the Charlie line of advance. Now we'll resolve raid 2. Again, I've got, this is a guaranteed success. You still draw the card, but I'm subtracting 2 off this card. The cards only go up to 10, and I have 10 between the combined air factors, so no problem. The suppression maybe is a different story. I am subtracting 1, and I have a 5, so this may not work. Ooh, it worked. 3 minus 1 is 2. That mission succeeds, causing 10 combat factors for another 2 hits. So that's 4 hits here in for raid 2. Okay, and normally for a lot of these primary effects, you have a 3-hit limit, but that's mostly against the tracks, I believe. Yeah, the cast missions have no limit, so that's 4. Okay, so we have completed our raid resolution phase. We now take a look at these 2 objectives that we had. The 5th Corps commander is quite happy with us. We did have 4 cast hits on Charlie, so we've achieved that. We earned 5 resource points. However, the 2nd Corps is less thrilled. We did not support them effectively. We lose 2. So the net there is a positive 3 in our favor, which is amazing. I'll discard the one we didn't do for the moment and keep this over here so I remember to use it. So that is raid resolution. Now we'll do the ground combat phase. Get my little mnemonic out here. So we'll start on Alpha. 3 versus 6. 4 versus 6. So Alpha. They advance. 2 victory points for the Warsaw. Okay. Now we'll do Bravo. 4 versus 4. Plus 2. So that's we win that one. Decrement that down to 3. Charlie, 11 versus 7. So this is good for us. Plus 1 is 12 versus 7. So we'll decrement them. That was Charlie. Now we'll go to Delta. 4 versus 7. 4 versus 7. 6 versus 7, so we lose this one. They're off the starting line. Echo, 7 versus 2. Tell you how this is going to go, as expected. And now Foxtrot, 7 versus 3. Oof. Okay. So that completes the combat. Now, we did win in Charlie. So the Charlie line retreats, but they're already as far back as they can go, so they will lose another pip. All right, that's ground combat phase. Now we'll go into the reinforcement phase. Again, starting with the Warsaw reinforcements. So Alpha receives 3 reinforcements. They are now maxed out. And Colossus. Bravo receives 3 reinforcements, going up to 6. Charlie receives 2 reinforcements, going up to 7. Delta receives 2 reinforcements, maxing out at 8. And Echo and Fox are each going to just receive 1 reinforcement. The minimum is 1 on any of these cards, and they can only store up to 8. So now I've got a real problem here that, for the most part, the Soviet forces are at full strength. So I'll draw my new Soviet reinforcement, and I'll shuffle up. While I'm shuffling, I'd like to welcome anyone that's joined the stream here after we've started. The game of the day is NATO Air Commander by Hollandspiele. Please do report in the chat. Let me know that you're here, that I'm not just talking to myself or to the YouTube audience. And yeah, ask questions and we'll play the game together. I'm happy to take your suggestions on what targets to hit and what we should do. Let's see. Okay, so I've done that shuffling, and now here's the final reinforcement card over to Foxtrot. And now I draw 1 for me. Okay, big number here. Big number, 9. Okay, this is going to help a lot. So 9 will actually really help me lock some of this down. Now I just have to figure out where I want to lock it down. The 2 lines that I'm least interested in resourcing at this point are Foxtrot, despite the fact that they're almost at the end of the line. I will pay some VP penalty pretty dearly for that, but I won't lose the resource point. And Delta, actually, I'm less interested in because it does not have resource points here. The other ones, on the other hand, I'm very interested in resourcing. And with 9, I can do quite a bit here. So, for instance, I'll do 2 of the 9 to get Kassel up to 6, which gives me parity with Hanover. So that's 2 of my 9. I can do another... Oof, this is getting really close. I can do another 6 of my 9 to bump up the forces here on Echo. So I should be able to do pretty well here. I'm going to do pretty well here. I'm going to do pretty well here. So that's 2 and 6, 8. I have 1 more. I'm going to bring it into Bremerhaven. I'm going to say Bremen is just going to be lost, but maybe I can mount a defense here just before Amsterdam. All right. Boy, this game, particularly on the ground, can be won or lost really by how these cards play out. You get a couple of heavy Warsaw reinforcement cards up front, and then couple, 1 or 2 turns of really dippy NATO reinforcements, and they can just run all the way across, which puts you in a hole. So, all right, reinforcements. Oh, no, reinforcements aren't done. I have now a few air reinforcements to bring in. This 476 is just a wonderful utility aircraft there. That's a Jaguar, and we'll do quite a bit. And this red chit is actually the CF-18s, the Canadians flying their F-18s. So this is a really good group. This is where I like to put these guys. Okay. So that's reinforcements. Random event. We'll see. Okay. Fast repairs. All units in the damage box are moved to the repairs box. Well, crap. I already repaired them. Oh well. Again, better than the awful cards. That's random events. Now we'll go to resource points. Only 1 of the Warsaw lines is still in its start phase, so I only get 1 for there to get me to 4, but I still have all 4 resource point cities to bring me to from 4 to 8. So that is earning resource points. Now I'm spending them. All right, so I have 8 resource points. I'm tempted to spend 3 to bring all my repaired aircraft back on. So we'll go from 8 to 5. This will give me a lot more. These come over, then flip to full. So I'll bring all these guys over, including the Dutch and the American F-16s. Okay, a bit on colors here on the color coding. The orange, the red are the Canadians, orange are the Dutch, blue are the U.S. forces. The gray tone there, this tan, these are the UK forces, whereas the yellow ones here, or the gold ones, are the Germans. So, okay, so I spent 3 to bring on the rest of those forces. We saw how useful that pilot shit was. So we'll go from 5 to 3 here and bring on my remaining American ace pilot. I'll be tempted to also bring on my British one, but we'll leave it at that. And then 3 more RP for my next PG, precision guided munition. Okay. So that's me spending things. Now I actually do have an intern phase. I'll start by bringing back all of the units from the display. And I'll kind of park them all back in their usual homes so that I can quickly get everybody back out. You know, you get a little scheme and it helps you kind of quickly deploy and see what you have available to you. 7, 2, all right. Okay. So I brought all those back from the air display. Now we do the offensive electronic warfare step. I will bring these guys back, and since they come off this, the OCA marker does decrement down back to 1. Okay. Now I kind of have a full complement of forces. Everyone's in theater, and I'm ready to go. So now we'll do DEED and OCA recovery. There's a 50-50 chance that each of these will be just improved by the Soviet engineers. So pulling for the DEED track, this is an even number on air intercept. That's what we're looking for, to have it be repaired. So this will get 1 better. And same thing on OCA. It's an odd number, so the OCA track will stay where it is. Okay, nuclear escalation is the next thing, essentially the sudden death victory condition if we let the Warsaw run away with this. And then the Warsaw Pact victory point step, on the first 6 turns, if they do have a force that's achieved its objective, they start earning victory points or having it sit there. So that's the end of turn 2. Moving on to turn 3. All right, folks, we've done 2 turns. It's moving right along. Let's keep going here. And again, please do swing by, say hi in the chat if you're watching the stream live. If you are catching the recording, feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube comments, or swing on over to reddit.com/r/hex-encounter and join our community there, talking about war games. All right, so back up to the top, we're going to get 2 new objectives. First one's going to be the I-Corps, which is going to be here out of Alpha. Again, there's a differential of 6 here. I'm not entirely inclined to do that. The next one is Bravo. Bravo I actually am somewhat inclined for. I have parity, and so any amount of cast that I do will actually cause us to succeed and get better footing. So for the moment, I think I might try and help the BAOR and Bravo and let the I-Corps kind of squirm for a bit. All right, so that was the objectives. Now we're going to do recon. Our OCA is 1 now, so 6 or under will succeed. So I want to do that decap strike again. So let me see if I can find the enemy headquarters, hoping for air intercept of 6 or less. Nope, still nothing. I do not have recon. So this is really frustrating me. The decap is such an important part of this. It lets you do 2 things. If you hit it, the first hit inflicted against the enemy headquarters allows you to go through the deck and start pulling out any card you want. I would go for the awful 10-10 cards. More of those that you pull out, the better the deck gets for you, which is huge. Any hit in excess of 1 gives you essentially a floating pilot. Allows you to redo a pull in that anywhere in that turn. So I love going for that. It's my highest priority mission. I haven't been able to do it so far. Right, I see Throne Wolf has checked in. Thanks for coming by. glad to see that you're taking a gander at Air War Games. If you take a look at the rest of the channel, you'll see that that's kind of my shtick. I like all war games. I play all sorts, and while everyone plays a lot of World War II war games, modern theoretical hypothetical conflicts are things that really interest me, and air war games interest me a lot as well. So thanks for coming by, and I'm going to ask you to report in and give me some opinions. For the benefit of people watching the recording, let me turn on the chat overlay here. All right, let me make that a little bit smaller. Stand by, everyone. That way it doesn't. There we go. Okay, hopefully we can still read that on YouTube. But all right, so we are done with the recon phase, so now we're into air planning. Time to figure out how to do this again. All right, so the little trick that we've been doing here on take the stealth, put a precision guided munition on, we're going to do it again. That's going to give us 2 hits somewhere. Now, regrettably, 2 hits on Deed still is a 1. 2 hits on OCA is a 2, but perhaps with some electronic warfare, we can bring that to a 3. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 hits here on OCA with my stealth. I think we did that last time as well. And that'll be there. My strike, then I will further strike against the Deed track. 3 hits here will bring me to the 2. So I'll pair up both F-111s again here. And kind of my standard little air escort here, have it be the U.S. Air Force doing their thing. So when I resolve these, the stealth bomber is going to bring OCA here to the 2 block. Assuming I do electronic warfare, that'll get me on the 3 block on OCA. That'll be good. And then these 3 hits on Deed would bring me here to 2. So 3 and 2. That's kind of really where I want to be. So we'll just kind of keep working these over, make the life easier here. So the only thing really I have left to do now is still help the fielded forces. Alpha and Bravo are the ones that have called out for in the grand scheme of things. If I had a spare one, it's always nice because you could draw, like in this card that we just drew here, a 0 for your attack resolve. And that would mean I would lose a 7-pip unit. So it's nice here on the 8-8 and the 7-7 to throw 1 cast success at it, and that brings it 1 in your favor, and you'll survive no matter what. So if I have any excess bandwidth, I think I'm going to want to try and do that. Let me see if I can't make at least 3 raids here that are going to survive and what we do with them. So they want 3 hits on Bravo. How am I going to get 3 hits? Okay. I think that's going to need to be 2 raids. That 1 raid is going to provide 2 hits. 1 raid is going to provide a single hit. Here is my 2 hit. Actually, yeah. So let me do a precision guided munition here on these Harriers. That'll double their value to 10 and give them a 2nd hit. I see Schisms joined. Thank you very much, and I'm glad Hollandspiele shared the link for the stream. Please do let me know if you have any questions or if you have any suggestions, actually. I really do want to bring you guys in here on the stream. The tactical scenario that we're trying to figure out at this point is I've got, I think, a good plan for helping secure the air picture. And if any of you have read any on Air Force doctrine, you have to have air superiority. That's represented here in the OCA track. And you have to be operating in a permissive environment, which is destroying the enemy air defenses or at least suppressing them. So we're going to be doing that. I'm going to try and prioritizing working on that. But you got to be helping the guys here on the ground. So we are incentivized this turn to go for Alpha and Bravo. Alpha, I think, is a lost cause. There's just too much of a differential at 6 pips here. Then we've got, but we have an even here on Bravo. So I think we can actually do some good here. My plans are to achieve the objective on Bravo and then throw a bone to Charlie and Echo. So if any of you want to share your thoughts on that, happy to hear what you've got. I also see we've got a few other people reporting in. So again, thank you for being here. So, all right, if you got another idea or a suggestion, please do put that in the chat. But I'm going to start putting these raids together. So raid 1 is going to give me 2 hits here. Some discussion in the chat on the quality of the Hollandspiele components. Yeah, it's really just amazing. And what's amazing here is that it's print and play. Like, maybe the card decks are mass produced to a certain extent, but the cards are tremendous quality. The chits just feel great. They're a little bit strange with the cutting. We're all used to the corner mount cuts on the cardboard or die cut chits that we get. I'm not quite sure how these are etched. This is laser etched wood or what, but they're center cut, so it's a little bit different. But okay, we're going for Bravo. This is going to be 2 hits on Bravo. I need to find another hit on Bravo, and actually I need these people to not get shot down. So here, let's drop an F-15 to keep you in the air. Let's give you a Warthog. Okay, call that a win. Raid 2 is going to be the other backstop here. And let's see here. You're going to get a Hog. You're going to get, boy, I'd like you to have a little bit more air than 5. For the moment, you get 5, and we'll figure it out. So here, have an F-16 on air, and for that matter, have an F-16 as your primary. So that'll be 1 hit for Raid 2. I don't like how soft they are in the air. We'll see if we might do something about that. But assuming both of these succeed, cast mission will succeed on Bravo. I may want to give them another mission just to give myself a little bit of a margin. That way, if 2 fails, 3 could help them out. But now let me see if I can't try and get a mission here against Echo and Charlie as well. So these will kind of be my secondary missions. Oh, yeah. And speaking of other missions that I want to do, let me for sure do this offensive electronic warfare. This is a no-brainer for me. Oh, hey, yeah, that guy. So, okay. Offensive electronic warfare. Engage. Yeah, let the Dutch sit this one out. The Canadians will do air escort on that. Okay. Next, this is going to be for Charlie and Echo. So we'll, again, just throw out some F-16s for my strike aircraft. We're going to throw some seed aircraft out here to help. And any air escort. Okay, I do not like, I think that's about as thin as I'm willing to let this get. I think these guys are going to, help augment other folks. So let's do this. Let me drop 2 of these guys together for the seed missions, therefore essentially guaranteeing that the mission's going to work. So I'll move you over here. So now I've got 10 factors on that seed mission. It will succeed no matter what. That makes me feel a lot better there. Let me swap out an F-15 for an Alpha. That gives me a few more air factors. And I can also swap out again, because I think I want these F-15s actually in the air, helping me out just a little bit. So if my strike goes off here, I'm going to go here to 3 on the OCA, which means that 3 on the OCA, my F-15s will succeed no matter what. I'll be pretty okay here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to double up here and here and do that. So that gives me just a ton. All right, I think I've got low enough risk. And I've got a lot of raids coming out there. All right. Oh, and I see that we even have a special guest appearing in the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, the publisher, Tom from Hollandspiele. Tom and Mary, if you're there, thank you all very much for coming by. And again, thanks for promoting the channel and the stream. So, okay. So we're going to drop that on Charlie, and we're going to drop this one on Echo, and we're going to just make sure that we don't lose our fronts there. And if you have any suggestions, Tom, on any horrible strategic mistake I'm making, please let me know. All right, so the one remaining decision I've got is where do I keep my ace in the hole, right? Where do I keep this this pilot that will let me redo a poll if I really don't like what I'm doing? So this OCA is going to peg up to 3. And so I'm not worried about OCA really until I get down to this guy. This is the only one I'm really worried about OCA on. Not thinking about gotta have to worry about that. Deed is going to hop up here to the 2. Oh, you're terrible at this game. Okay, well, Let's hope we can all figure this out together, shall we? All right. I'm reasonably studied in the doctrine and in the theory, and then of course the adjustment has to come in mapping, the book smarts from reading on how this is supposed to work to then mapping that into the model and the game system, and then flexing the actual game system. Okay, so I think assuming that this deed mission succeeds, is that the deed is going to go up to 2. And that's going to make all of these pretty comfortable. I've got these 7s here. This is going to be my weak spot. Each of these are going to fail on a 9 or a 10. And so one of those actually might not work. So do I put it here, thereby mostly ensuring that my primary effort here on Bravo succeeds? Or do I put it here, thereby ensuring that my deed succeeds? I think I have to do this, particularly since it's starting at 0. Okay. So there we go. It's the deed. So sorry that we spent so long talking and so long staring right here and deciding this, but honestly, this is the game. The rest of this then is just mechanic, right? It's just choosing, resolving, flipping chits, moving things around. But there's a lot of decision to have right here, and the puzzle is building these force packages. And so you really do consider it. And take risks where you feel you can take them, but you're going to be needing to take more risks. And honestly, you're going to have things that don't work out in the early turns. The table is set pretty hard against you, but you're just going to have to try it. Okay, so that's air planning. Now let's go with start resolving these. Okay, we're just going to have to go here on this offensive counter-air mission, so let's do it. Okay, that's good. So the stealth fighter succeeds. That's 2 hits on OCA. So we now go up to here to 3. That's what I like to see. We'll now resolve the deed mission. Okay, so looking at this now, we'll start air escort. With 3 on OCA, the F-15 is guaranteed to succeed. I'm glad I drew an awful card, or a relatively awful card. Now we're going to go ahead here to the seed mission. So I need a 6 or under on the ground for this to work. I got a 5. Okay, that'll work. So I'll go ahead and just move that pilot there so I know that I did it. And that is 15 combat factors. So go 3 hits. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so seed is now at 2. OCA is at 3. It's about as good as I could have hoped for that to be. And now we'll just hope. All right, so let's go raid 1. Again, air is guaranteed to succeed. Oh, and I drew a softball too for that. Oh, well. And ground is actually guaranteed to succeed. There's 10 and I've got -2. So that mission succeeds in its entirety for 2 hits on raid 1. So I'll take the 2 marker here, drop it over by Hanover, and mark raid 1 as complete. Now let's do raid 2. Again, air guaranteed to succeed with 10 factors in the air right now. So that works. I have 7 factors in seed. And I've got a 2 advantage, so taking 2 off of this, it succeeds. So luckily for us, this goes to 3, and we actually have achieved, again, one of our objectives over here. A little bit later, we should be able to start achieving both of them once we get comfortable here on our controlling the battle space. But for now, I think we're doing pretty well getting one of these a turn. Okay, now 6 and 1, pick them. Let's do... this one here, guaranteed to work in the air at 10 factors, and I am glad. That is an awful card, but 10 minus 3 is 7, and 7 is less than our 10. And so now I need an 8 or under for this seed to work. Okay, so now we're going to get to see how things go when they go south. 9 on ground defense minus 2 for deed is 7. 7 matches the 7 provided here by my seed tasked aircraft. So actually, this raid does not work. So now we'll flip the next card to figure out who gets roughed up. The counter that has the number closest to 10 is reduced. And so I think that's going to be here, the 11 F-16. So the Americans get shot up, and this raid does not work. So Delta is just going to kind of be on their own. I like to, when I reclaim these, I'll mark them sideways. Some of the objectives just want you to have successful cast sorties, and so the ones that come back vertical were successful. The ones that come back horizontal had issues. All right, now raid 7. Counter air at -3. So on, let's see, a 10 minus 3 would be 7. That wouldn't work. So I need an 8 or under. And I ran a 9. So both of these actually run into problems. The one that gets hit here is the one closest to 29. and that will be 30. So the Canadians take the brunt of that one. All right. So again, don't feel too frustrated about it. This is kind of one of the things on these solitaire systems is occasionally the table is going to win one as well, and you just kind of be okay with that. And so we're kind of okay with that. And I had a PGM left in my pocket. That's fine, though. I didn't want to run out of those. So that will end our raid resolution phase. We'll notice that we did achieve this one for 3 RP. However, we lose 2 RP for shorting I-Core. So that's a net 1 RP. Discard that. Keep this here as a reminder. And let's see here. So we now move into the ground combat phase. Alpha is just going to get steamrolled here. There's a differential of 6, so nothing I could do there. So Bremen gets sacked for another 2 Warsaw victory points. Get my mnemonic back up. There we go. I like putting these, as between the ones that I have resolved and haven't resolved. Okay, so now looking at Bravo, I'm winning here 9-6, and with another one is 10-6. So this stays where it is, and he'll lose a pip. Now looking at Charlie. Charlie is 7-7. Whew, pulled a 2. That's good. So despite the fact that I didn't help them, they still held. Put that down to 6. Delta, this is a lost cause. At 2 is not enough, so we'll advance there. 1 Warsaw victory point. Where are we now? Echo? Okay, so Echo 8-8. Raid 7 didn't work. Oh, no whammy. Oh, whammy. It's so cute. So I have a young child, and he's far too young to play war games. He's about 4, but he wants to. The last weekend he's been sitting this playing with me, and he helps. He's been flipping the cards and reading the numbers to me, and I'd get something like this, and I would do one of those reactions where he pulls a 0 and the 8-8, and I lose my 8, and I go oh, and he just tells me all the empathetic things that we're teaching him, like that. It's okay, and if you get frustrated, you can just walk away, and it's so funny. I'm like, yeah, I know, but. So, all right, I lost my huge army there. That's awful. And they get 1 closer. Now they're adjacent to the city I don't want them to be on. Tom, I blame you entirely. Actually, I of course, I should blame Brad, but you're here, so. Okay, and then I'm going to lose Salzburg. That's just, yeah, okay, so it's gone. All right. But there's a silver lining here. The counterattack was successful in Bravo. So the way the counterattack is going to work now that he's not against the wall is he gets pushed back a spot. The adjacent force advances, and we'll adjust the VP. And so I'll get 2 of those VP back. And I'll get a 1-step unit here in the vacated space. Okay. So that was ground combat. We'll now go into reinforcements. Alpha is full. Bravo gets 3, so they now become full. You see why I wanted to get a cast hit down here. That was what I was trying to avoid, but I guess you lose some. Charlie gets 1 step to 7. Delta is fine. Echo and Fox are already full. So just get rid of those. All right, re-deal. Hopefully the shuffle card's in here. One of these guys won't get reinforcements. And now my reinforcements. Oh, 5. Boo, hiss. Okay, so where am I and what do I need? Bremerhaven is at 3. I could get them full up to 8. Hanover is a little bit under their opposition. Fulda is okay. Stuttgart's a lost cause. Salzburg's already lost. There's really, how many do I get? 5. I could drop 5 in here to Munich, but it's still a pretty big ask. So I think with the 5, what do you all think? Alpha? Get in on Bremerhaven? Maybe I do 4 to Alpha and 1 to Bravo. Get them both up to 7. And then try and get some casts up there. The objectives are going to probably really push me to get firepower elsewhere, but if I can get a little bit of CAS up there, we might be able to hold and really prioritize. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to give 4 of those here, and Bremerhaven, get it to 7, and 1 of them here to Hanover. So that's 5. All right, well, that was disheartening down here, but you win some, you lose some. Okay, so that's reinforcements. We're down to reinforcements. Random events. Oh, yes, Reforger. When resolving NATO reinforcements during the next turn's reinforcement phase, double the NATO value. And this is held for next turn. So I'm going to drop this here under the play mat so I remember to apply it. Okay, that's good. The nice thing is, often the way that these cards work is the awful for, if these are awful for you up here, and either they will all be awful or they will all be good, then the event is good for you, and vice versa. So this being a good for me event actually takes this card out of the deck and including out of a shuffle. So this is actually all around good for me. So we'll put that there. That's the event. Now we'll do resource. And so I actually do have 1 still in the starting box. So that gets me up to 2 resources. I still have all 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 barely, and not for long. So that'll get me up to 6. Get you back here where you're supposed to be. And these aren't maxed yet. All right, so I have 6 to buy. How do we want to do this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 as a pilot. Get a UK pilot. Give me some more options there. And I'm going to take 1 as a PGM and just bank 1. All right. So that's reasonable purchases. And now we'll do air mission display step. And so we'll start to reset here. And one thing that we will note is we actually have a different set of decisions now that I have some damaged units. And I'll kind of leave those to the end and we can discuss what those decisions are and kind of mutually agree on how we want to do this. We'll note that it takes 2 turns to cycle units through the damaged to repaired back to being viable units. So anyone that you're repairing is essentially sitting on the bench for a couple of turns, which is not very useful. You can see, I don't have as many air units as I really want to do all the things I want to do. So even a damaged unit is preferable than no unit in many contexts. They have poor attributes, but they still have the attributes mostly. But they're more brittle. If they come up again, they're out. Unless I spend a ton of RP to bring them back. But they can come down here to the offensive electronic warfare and still be useful to me. So I think for the moment, I'm actually going to take them back to basing. I have the option to start them on the damaged sequence or bring them back to base damaged. I'm going to bring them back to base damage. I'm going to use them that way. And the OEW step, I'll bring this and this will slide down. And now these F-16s can go into the queue as normal F-16s, and I'll just have the damaged units run escort. Okay, so now we'll do the recovery step. So if I pull an even number on air intercept, DEED will drop, and it does. Shoot. And same here with OCA, of course. Okay. All right, and now during the Warsaw Pact victory point step, they will actually gain a victory point simply by having Salzburg, one of their Foxtrot having achieved the objective. But before we get to that point, let's just verify that our victory points are current. The Warsaw Pact should at this point have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 victory points, and they do. Okay, and so now they'll get their 1 more for having achieved their objective. These get won and lost as the battle goes back and forth. This 1 that they just got, I won't be able to take away from them. Okay, and that is the end of turn 3. We'll now move on to turn 4. And while we get ready to do this, again, thanks for you, all of you that have joined us and joined us since the start of the last turn. Please do report in on the chat. Love to hear from you. We've had an active chat so far, and we've got the publisher here to answer all your questions about how this game came to be. All right, so let's go ahead and get our objectives now. Somewhere in this objective decks are some shuffle cards, and so we may actually see one of those here soon. All right, so the 7-core counterattacks and 2-core counterattacks. Yet again, all right, well, Foxtrot and Delta are where this is driving us. And of all of the lines, these are the ones that I care the least about because they don't have cities on them. So potentially here I could just lose 4 RP and not get any resources this turn. Or I can maybe try and do Delta for all the good it's going to do. I mean, I can do 4 hits here and it's still going to take a really lucky pull to keep Stuttgart from falling this turn. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. Those are not the ones I wanted to see. All right. Recon phase. 2 on my OCA, which means that my recon value is 6. So if I pull a 7, -2 would be 5, it would succeed. So I'm looking for a 7 or under. I'm going to start by, again, I want to find the headquarters. So headquarters, and I find it. Okay, that succeeds. And so as a mnemonic here, I'll drop on the decap strike on the board. I'll drop it over here. In their backfield. And so now I can hit that. And I can guarantee you where my stealth fighter is going this turn. It's going right there. And that'll be fabulous. So I get to keep going. So let me now do battlefield surveillance. I want to see what event's coming up and potentially pull a favorable event. So this is going to be battlefield surveillance. Again, I'm looking for 7 or under. 7 -2 is 5. That succeeds. So I ran out of a deck there. So I know that there's the shuffle card up there, which is fine. So shuffling up here. The way this is going to work is I'm going to get to look at the top card and consider its event. And if I like it, I can hold it and use that as my event card at the end of the phase. If I don't like it, I can just do something with it. What happens if I don't like the card? To the bottom of the deck. Okay. Once per game turn. All right, so let's see here. No effect. Part of what I'm looking at here are the 6s. If I get a 6 on ground defense, it's probably going to be okay. But there's a lot worse events that can come up. So I'll actually go ahead and take the no effect event next turn. That's fine. Okay. And so that's just sitting there as my reminder. I get to keep going. So now we're going to actually do one of the actions that we haven't done yet. And let's, in this case, do a locate staging area. And what the heck, let's go against Alpha. So going against Alpha for the staging area. Again, I need 7 or under. Oh, and it didn't work. I got a 10. So, okay, we're done with recon. Maybe next time we'll be able to do that. Air planning, here we go. Now note that we do get decap. So I'm going to use a precision guided munition. I'm going to park it under the stealth fighter. I'm going to put it here on decap. Okay. This is going to help me start getting awful cards out of this deck. Regrettably starting here on turn 4, but I'll take it. I'll be able to start getting awful cards out of this deck, and I'll get kind of a reroll in my pocket. I'm going to take my damaged guys here. They are going to become my escort, so CA will go up a notch. And I'm going to start to try and work these over. So let's see how we might want to do this. If I give a PGM to this more capable F-111, that's actually would be 3 hits. If I pair up, say, the Alpha with this other tornado, that would be 2 hits. And so I could say get OCA up to 4 and then Deed up to 3. And that's actually a pretty good way to do this. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the 2 hits on OCA. I'm going to do 3 hits on Deed. I'm going to park my F-15s here on Air Escort. I'm going to put some A-10s on maybe. No, yeah, I guess. You know what? No. I'm going to get the Brits to help. There we go. So allow me to spread out my pilots. And I'm absolutely going to do that. So these will be where my pilots go. You can see here that in general, I do prioritize all of these strategic effects. You know, like this is why the Air Force thinks that they exist, are to do those things. You know, of course, why the Army guys think the Air Force exists is to do all of this stuff and to do this close air support. We're still going to try and do that, but we're going to need to pick winners and losers, and the whole game gets easier as long as we can do this. Just so long as we don't have too much of this going on. Now, here's the cool thing. If I am able to get the 2-core objective done, we'll actually notch this guy back out. So there's still a reason to try and do this, and it's going to be fairly easy to do at 2 hits, which will save me a VP from him having sat there and potentially give me a way out. So what is it? Foxtrot and Delta. Delta is, again, I think it's just going to be a lost cause. He'll come here and then he'll retreat. Nah. I'm not sure. I'll keep him out of Stuttgart for another turn. Maybe I do that. All right, well, I guess we do have to figure that out now. Particularly since I'm a little bit low on available resources. 4 hits is just a lot of hits to get. I think I'm going to be a lot thinner here. I'd like to get, let's see. I'd like to really focus on Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, though. And I'm 1 under on Alpha, I'm 1 under on Bravo, and I'm even on Charlie. So if I, that's really where I'd want my, I don't want to get, I don't think I've got the resources to get 4 hits here, as much as I may want to. I don't even think I've got the resources to get two hits here, but I really don't want to lose that many resources. Really don't. I want to at least have 3 to get another PGM next turn. Okay. Oh, I don't even have PGM for that. All right. So I'm going to make raid 7 here, and this one's going to go against, it's going to be 2 hits, and it's going to go against Fox, just so I can get an objective done. I'm kicking myself here. I really don't want to do this. I really, really don't want to do this, but I think I'm going to have to. All right. I do have some A10s to help here. All right. So starting to spread out the rest of these. One and 2, what was I saying? I kind of wanted to help out Alpha and Bravo here. What do y'all think? Are you sweaty palms like me? Because I don't love this plan. Now the decap strike is going to give me hopefully at least 1 reroll, and I'm going to look pretty okay here on this OCA and D track. So. And actually, I do have these 2 guys in my pocket to help me out just a little bit. OCA should come up 2 here to 4, which makes all these 5 fighters not so terrible. With 3 coming on deed, 1, 2, 3, that'll bring me here to 3, and which makes most of that okay too, as a matter of fact. Let me do this. Let me drop this to help seed here. Let me drop this to help as an air escort someplace, just to make sure the stuff gets through. And let me make sure that Salzburg gets supported. That way I can get my RP. All right. Well, let's do it, gang. Yep. So raid resolution. I'll start by resolving the decap, looking for not a 10. That's good. So the decap succeeds. I'll go ahead. I get 2 hits on the decap, one of which will carry forward, and I'll have that. That'll be my free reroll. The other one is I'm going to get the chance to go through here and pull out my least favorite cards. And let me see which tins are in here for me to choose. Noting that at the very least, the tins have some reasonably good events associated with them. So which of these events, of these 3 events, might be ones that I want to hold on to? I don't want Foxtrot. Get out of here. That's the card that goes away. Okay. So now that I've done that, there's 1 less 10 floating around the deck for the rest of the game on all these shuffles, which I'll take. And that is why you decap. That is really why you decap. Okay. So now that we've done that, I get to figure out which one we're doing next between OCA and deed. I think I want to do deed next to give me the most effort. Hoping for not a 10 here. I got a 9. Woo, okay. So the air segment of the deed mission worked, and now for the ground segment, a 7 or under, and I do okay. 7 minus 1 is 6, so I'm good. Okay, so the deed mission succeeds. Oh, let me mark that. There we go. The deed mission succeeds. Doing 3 hits on the deed track. So this goes from 1 to 3. That's huge. Now let me go to the OCA mission. Again, I'm hoping for not a 10. That's fine. And now, let's see here. This is at -3, and I've got a 7 there. So really, anything that's not 10. And I drew a 7. So that mission succeeds. I'll just mark that as done. And OCA goes up 2. All right. Now we're sitting pretty. Now I'm actually pretty happy about this. Let's resolve raids. All right. So the sequence here is going to matter a little bit, noting that I still have my free reroll. And so I want to make sure that I use this at an appropriate time. So air escort on this is guaranteed to succeed. I have 10 factors and a -4. So this works. No problem. And then seed, not a 10. Not a 10. So raid 7 succeeds for 2 hits. Get my 2 hits here. Good. Okay. Let's go now with raid 2. So this is at -4, hoping for an 8 or under. That's fine. And now I have 9 combat factors, so air to ground is guaranteed to pass. It does. Raid 2 succeeds for 1 hit. Yay! Get more of these chits out. So 1 hit for raid 2. And now finally raid 1. Air to air at -4 succeeds. Air to ground at -3 succeeds. Okay, I didn't even need my reroll. All this worked out fine. So raid 1 succeeds. All right, so now let's just hope that we've got some good rolls here for the ground combat. I think we've done our part. So now we just need the dice to come up in our favor, if you will. Okay, we succeeded for 2 core. US 7 core did not get the support they needed in Delta. So we will lose 2 there, gain 2. So no RP adjustment due to these objectives, which is not awful, all things considered. And we'll now start doing ground combat. So line of advance, we'll do alpha here first at even. 2 in our favor. Alpha lives to fight another day. Okay. Now Bravo at even. Bravo does not live to fight another day. Wouldn't it be nice if on that decap I could have used that remaining chit to redo that poll? But it specifically talks about this being done. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, hold up. The second and third hit gives you the capability to draw a second resolution card in the raid resolution phase, ground combat phase. Oh, I can. Okay. Hold up. Tom, why didn't you tell me this? Come on. We still had that. I can use that in this phase. So I just drew a 10 here. Oh, this is big. I just drew a 10 here. This is the only thing, or a 0. That's the only thing that I could have done it. Yeah, wow. Ooh. So I'm going to do another one. I drew a 1. Oh. Bravo holds. Man. Okay. Tom, thanks for reminding me about that. That was really good. Okay. Coming down here to Charlie. Charlie is also even. And they get their 1. Charlie holds. Oh, wow. Okay. Decap strikes, folks. Every time you can. Was out of the room. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Okay. You'll have to catch it on replay. All right. So Charlie has been done. The rest of these are just, I'm going to pull, or they're just going to lose. Delta is going to get steamrolled. I'll lose 2 victory points for that, down to 12. Echo is going to lose as well. This one's going to hurt the most, where I'll lose 3 and the resource point. So I'll go down to 15. Ugh. And I don't pull a card because there's no opponent. All right. But they retreat. So now they retreat 1. I get the victory point back. And I get 1 force here. Okay. All right. So I feel pretty okay about I feel really okay about that turn. That happened about as good as we could have hoped for. It took some good planning on our part, right? The way that we sequenced these things, what we hit, that we were able to get that command thing out, that we really did stack and we picked winner losers. And where you can do the objective cards, do it and try and do one because you're going to need those resource points. But respond to the situation on the board. We really kept a good board state, I think. So, all right, so that was ground combat. And we're done with ground combat now for reinforcements. All right, so now we'll see what we got here for reinforcements. Alpha goes up 1. Bravo goes up 1. I'm not even looking at those numbers here. From 7, it either gets nothing on a shuffle card or it goes up to 8. Charlie goes up 4. I'll max out. Just facing all these 8s is terrible. Delta is maxed. All these are maxed, so we'll just take these cards up. Hey, there's the shuffle. Okay. We'll give them 6 new cards. And 1 for us. Noting that our previous event doubles the value of this number. Big pull. 7 to 14. Whoa. Okay. 14. You know, I almost want to say, like, just make it rain here, right? And you get a reinforcement, and you get a reinforcement. All right, so let's lock up what we can. 1, 2, 3. We've done as much as we can there. I still have 11 left. 7 here for 10 total. We got to start marching Echo that way. So really what I'm hoping for is I'm hoping I'm getting one of these cards that lets me choose where the retreats happen and I can push them off of Munich. That's really what I'm hoping. Okay, so I've done 10. I have 4 more to go. Honestly, like, you don't put them here, I don't think. Like, it's just going to require us to do too much in terms of air-to-ground CAS. I think we lose these. I think what we do with these 4 is we now start to get defense in depth. Like, I'm looking here and say we maybe make this a 5, because maybe at some point we do lose Bremerhaven, but at least Amsterdam's going to look like it's got some pretty good. So I'm going to take that to a 5. Okay. What do you all think? Oh boy, 14. I'd never gotten 14 armies before. That was great. Okay. Sorry, Delta and Foxtrot. I can't win them all. So that was reinforcements. Good phase there. Random events. We banked 1 from the recon phase, which is a nothing, which I'm fine with. And now resources. 2. Is that really? Yeah, I guess that's really how that happened. 2 of the Russians are still in their starting point, so we'll go from 1 to 3. I have 3 of the 4 resource point cities, so we'll go from 3 to 6. Okay. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get some of these bombs back. Actually, let's get a lot of these bombs back. I'd like having 2 pilots, and I really don't see a reason to have 3 in my pocket right now. I'd much rather have 2 PGMs. So I'm going to take this all the way down to 0 and get myself 2 PGMs. Okay. So that covers the resource phase. Now going to end turn, and this will be my cleanup. All right, so well, I'm feeling pretty good about how that turn went. Imagine that all of you are as well. And this is one thing that you'll find particularly on the recon phase is, you notice that we had a lot of trouble early in the recon phase, largely because of OCA. We just we needed you had like less than 50-50 chances, and we kept coming up not in our favor. Now that the OCA track is so much more in our favor, recon is much more likely to happen. Owning the battle space gives you a lot more freedom of maneuver to do those missions that you want to do. So that's why it's so important to try and focus on OCA early so that you can do the recon. And that also helps you, do your other missions. Deed is great as well. That makes you have to devote fewer resources to protecting your missions as you go. But I'd say OCA is still kind of one of the most important things. Okay, so we cleaned all that up. Let's get the decap strike away. OEW. So now this will fall back down 1. And we will get these guys back. Again, I'm going to take them straight back, reduced. I don't want them to cycle out. I want them to just keep cycling here to support OEW. All right, and now recovery steps. So let's see if we lose Deed here, even number. Nope, we're fine. Let's see if we lose OCA. Nope. All right, we're still good. Man, I'll take it. All right. So that no nuclear escalation. Now 14 victory points. I'm not thrilled about that, but it's we haven't lost yet, and we've bumped everyone off their objectives, so we actually don't lose another point. That's the end of turn 4. On to turn 5. Okay, let's do this. Objectives. 2 of these. So interestingly, I'm now at the 2 awesome objectives or the shuffle. I'm hoping one of these is not the shuffle. Big push. Major air raid. Okay. Well, this is a pretty big ask. If I can do both of these, it's going to be pretty awesome. I will get 6 RP if I can do them both, and 3 retreats of my choice. For the big push, I need to do 5 successful CAS missions. It doesn't matter how many hits. I just have to do 5 of them. And for the other mission, they expect me to do 7 raids altogether. So if I can do 7 raids, 5 of which are CAS, and they all work, I get all of these. So, yeah, we'll try for that. Recon phase. Let's see if one of those can be a decap, shall we? So, recon, again, my recon value is a 6, and they are at -3. So, an 8 or under, and this works. So, looking for the headquarters. Okay, well, no, so much for that. That was fun that one turn. We'll do better at that next turn. Again, with the OCA coming up, that'll be easier. So 1, 2, and then 5 will make 7, and we put another CAS mission just for good measure. OEW counts as a mission for this actually. So yeah, we'll see if we can get both of these. It might be a stretch, but we can try. Okay, air planning phase. Let's start with a stealth strike again with the PGM, so I can get 2 of these. Against the deed track. That'll max out the deed track. Easy. Now let me put both of these strike aircraft. Again, my usual, I need this to work no matter what force package. Here against the OCA track. So that'll get me here to 6 and 5. If I really wanted to, and I think I do, because it'll give me another RP, let me just do this for now. Remind me to undo this. So this will actually max out everything here on turn 5. All right. I did adjust the game turn marker, right? I'm not a turn behind, am I? I think I'm okay. Let's see here. Turn 1, we had no objectives. Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and now this is turn 5. Okay. Oh, wait. Turn 1, we had nothing. Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4. Yeah, turn 5. All right. So, yeah, this might be a tight pull. 5 CAS raids. If I can do 5 CAS raids, and then 6, 7, 8, that allows me to have one of these fail and still accomplish the major air offensive, which would be really good. And really, these don't have to be big CAS raids. These can all be like little piddly one-hit CAS raids. And if I've pegged out OCA, I don't even necessarily have to send air escort. I probably want to, but let's see how this goes. So let me get a lot of these other markers up here. 6 and 3. Okay, so there might be 5 of them. So air escort. You could be a seed. seed, maybe. Start dropping these air escorts. I'm kind of running out of chits here. Primary. Well, I mean, I could do it. Yeah. Again, there's a lot of if in this plan. OCA, I would be fine. If I get this OCA to 7, anything up there at all that's escorted will be fine on OCA. So the big question is on deed. If I can get deed to work, that'll bring this up to 5. And really, then the only ones I have to worry about are back here, and they would fail on a 2. So let me do this. Let me give you this one as an insurance policy. With deed being, oh yeah, we're fine. Okay, this is going to work. I'm going to actually put this here to allow me to redraw during his pull. I think that's what I'm going to do. Right, because the pilot marker, when resolving any mission for that raid, including the mission that wasn't assigned to, you may expend the pilot chip, permanently removing it to draw a second resolution card. And the special rule in the stealth unit is it skips the air escort, but in the seed you draw 1 and check both numbers for a 10. So I think he'll get the ace pilot to make sure that I get deed where I want it. Okay, good plan. Good job, team. Yeah, it's a stretch. We have a margin on major air offensive. We don't have a margin on big push, but I think that's just how it's going to be. So let's resolve deed first. This is the one that's... Oh, I have to allocate these, don't I? 1 second. Sometimes I forget to do that when it's less important where these go. So let's do this. We absolutely want to have our margins here on these ones that we only have 1 on. And if I had to choose to double up on something, I'm going to double up here on Echo. That way I can make sure that if one of these fails, I still have the margin. I will win, and that I can choose to advance here and knock him back out of Munich. So let's do it that way. And actually, I could just put one of the guaranteed to work ones there, right? Raid 1 is guaranteed to work. So let me do that. Raid 1's guaranteed to work. I'm going to get a 1. So I can now just drop this someplace else. 6 and 7 are equally likely to fail, so I'll double those up. Okay. All right, let's do it. So going against deed, looking for a not 10. That's not a 10. So deed works. 2 hits there. I'll go ahead and get rid of my pilot. So deed value is now a 5. With OCA at 4, air escort has to work, which is good. That 8 threw an awful card. And at deed of 5, the A10 automatically provides his cover. So that's also good because that was a 10. So OCA mission succeeds, and I'm glad I stacked the deck there. So I didn't allocate. I actually have a PGM I haven't allocated. That was something I could have done, but I guess I'll keep it in my pocket for now. Okay, so I'll just put a hit marker here so I know I did that. That's 3 hits on OCA, and we are now pegged on both, 5 and 7. All right. Well, no sense beating around the bush. Let's run mission 7 here. Air has to work at 5. Yeah, it does. Seed, after I shuffle this, is the one that might not work. At 5 combat strength for ground attack, the Harrier will fail on a 10. So the only thing I'm looking for, then this is why we want to pull those 10s out of the deck with the decap strikes against the headquarters, but we have really not been finding those. Right. So let's hope for not a 10. Not a 10. So 7 succeeds for 1 hit here. Go ahead and bring 6 just for fun. Air escort is fine. 9 minus 7 is 2. And seed is fine. 7 minus 5 is also 2. So 6 also gets a hit. Good day. And notice I've got these vertically indicating that they were successful. Okay, raid 1. Now, if we notice these, at OCA of 7, the only possible way you could lose on OCA is if you had a combat power 3 or lower aircraft, since 10 minus 7 is 3. So there's no way for me to lose on air combat for my remaining. And with these being 7s, there's no way for me to lose on seed combat. A 10 minus 5 is 5. All these would pass. So I'm just going to burn 6 cards in sequence here to represent all that action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All those are the 6 cards that would be used, but all of those missions have assured success. So I will get my 3 single hit markers. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now I'm feeling like I'm in control. Now I feel like I've got the reins. So that was our raid resolution phase. All raids have been resolved. Checking our objectives, we actually did get 5 successful cast raids. All 5 succeeded. And we got 7 successful raids total. 8, actually, with everything on the board. So both of these succeed. That is 6 resource points in our favor. Cool. We'll leave these here. So now we'll go into ground combat. Ground combat up here in Alpha is 1 in our, or 2 in our favor, actually. And then 2 more, so that succeeds. We'll notch down the people here in Bremen. Yeah, thanks for the cheers there, folks. I join you in thinking that we did pretty well here. Let's go down now to Bravo. 1 in our favor here at Bravo. So, wait. 6. Oh, so 7 in our favor. Wow. If I had 1 more hit here on Bravo, this would have been a retreat. But alas, I will have to simply be content with knocking them down by 1. All right. Now for Charlie. Again, 1 in our favor on Charlie. It's fine. Delta, we lose. No other way around. Oh, actually, shuffle. Yeah. All right. Still, all right, we are working Delta, I said, so I'll just leave that here to remind ourselves. All right, well, discuss amongst yourselves while I do another shuffle check. All right. So, work up deed, work up OCA early in the game. Prioritize, pick your winners and losers. Don't do all of them, and not all of them are created equal. Okay. So we're doing Delta. Not enough, of course. No number would be enough. So we 1 axis. See, too many World War II games. 1 Warsaw Pact VP on Delta. Come down here to Echo. 1 in our favor on Echo. Makes it 5 in our favor. So we'll peg them down. And then finally here on Foxtrot, not a lot we're going to be able to do here on Foxtrot. Yeah, not enough. So we'll give them the VP there on Foxtrot. Okay. But now that we're at the end, I get 3 retreats of my choice. And so what I think I'm going to do here, actually, is I want to do the Munich retreat. That way I get 3 victory points back, 1, 2, 3, and the resource point. So I'll come into here, and my follow-on forces are the ones. So that's 1 retreat. I want to do 2 more retreats. While I might be inclined to either hit these guys against the wall to get them down by 1, they're going to be replenished. There's not a lot I can do here, particularly without me doing any staging area attacks. Pushing from Bremerhaven to Bremen is very tempting. That's a 2 VP move for me, and it gets them 1 further away from Amsterdam. But I think actually what I'm going to do is I don't want them, we're still on the turns where they get VP for being here. So I want to push them back off these end lines on both of these accounts here and just keep yo-yoing back and forth here, not allowing them to score VP. So that's 2 VP for me, and we're back up to 11. Okay. So that succeeded. And we have done our ground combat, including those cards. Okay, so reinforcements. Starting on Alpha, That will be reinforced up to 8. Bravo will be reinforced up to 8. Charlie will be reinforced up to 8. With them only being 1 away, there's not a lot to do. Delta isn't eligible. Echo will be reinforced up to 8. And then finally, Foxtrot isn't eligible. Okay. So all of the Soviet armies are at 8. Most of them are in places where I'm okay with them being. So they get new cards. And now I get my card just with the printed value. Okay, yeah, and this is karma from my last turn. 1. I get a single solitary NATO reinforcement. I'm going to tell you where they don't go. They don't go here, right? Like, going from a 1 to a 2 is not going to help me. I think I stick with my fortifying Amsterdam, so that's going to go up to 6. You can't go more than 8 anywhere. I think we're okay. So of course I wanted more reinforcements, but I'll live with that. Random event. This is going to be truly random. I wonder what we get. Choose any one air assault. Choose any one thrust line with the NATO force that is not adjacent to that WP force. Reduce the non-adjacent NATO force cohesion value by 1. So for instance, here in the full gap, I can take this guy from 3 to, down to 2. Womp womp. Resources. All right. So I've got 2 enemies that are in their start space. And I actually have all 4 cities. Now, unfortunately, we're going to bump up against the you can't get more than positive 10 RP rule. So there we are at 10. And I have both these maxed out. I would have had just Boku RP, right? I actually just overflowed 4 resource points. Maybe 6. I mean, just a lot. So, oh well. I get 10 resource points. I am not complaining. Now I get to spend them. Okay, I think at this point I do get a pilot. Grab the German pilot. I'm okay with 3 and leaving this guy in my pocket. That gets me down there. Let me get 2 more PGMs up to 3. Do I sit with 2 of those? Yeah, I sit with 2. I think that's what I do. Well, screw it. It goes down to 0. I'll bring in all my aces. Okay. There we go. Lots of ace pilots. So that's spent, and now let me do my reset. Okay, strike aircraft. A-10s. That tornado. Where'd you go? There it is. All right. Eagles. And there we go. Oh, come on. Okay. So that's been reset. Now we'll take OEW down. This OCA will fall 1. Again, I need the aircraft. I want to have all hands on deck. These guys are doing a great job. So keep up the good work. In fact, at this point, I'm seriously considering actually putting my F-15s on OEW escort because at 8, they're just way overflowing and they can't do CAS missions. Whereas this damaged F-18, even at 1, can do a CAS mission. So we'll see what we do there. A little bit more brittle, but we can see what we can do. Okay, so now we'll see deed and OCA recovery. So deed recovery happens. 0 is even. So we'll lose 1 on deed. And OCA recovery also happens. Oh, not good. Okay. Well, we'll have a little bit of work to do to peg that back out. So we've done that. No nuclear escalation. No victory points for the Warsaw here. So that is the end of the turn. We now move on to turn 6. Okay, so let's keep going. I think we got a little bit of time left on the stream. We might push this a little bit past the 10 o'clock hour Eastern and see. I don't know if we're going to finish necessarily, but we can at least see how comfortable I get here in our position. So I'm going to draw the objective card. The last card in this deck is the shuffle card. So the shuffle card will, force us to reshuffle the objectives deck, and we're going to, if we pull the shuffle card again, we're simply going to discard it and ignore it. So and only have one objective. So first objective we get here is Major Air Offensive, the one that we just did that needs 7 total raids. And then the next one is Charlie, doing a major attack here in Charlie for 4 factors. Okay, see what we can do here. At 5 RP. Losing 3. I might choose to skip that one if we can peg things out. We'll see. But let's do our recon. OCA is only 5. Actually, at OCA of 5, I'm guaranteed to succeed. If I pull a 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, which is lower than 6. So I get to do all of the recon I want to do this turn now that I've pegged out OCA, or at least got a 5 or above. So I'm going to start by doing the decap strike, and that succeeds. You know, even at 9, 9 minus 5 is 4, that succeeds. So I will be eligible to do a decap strike this turn. And any bets on whether or not I'm going to be doing that? Okay. Next I'm going to do Battlefield Surveillance, see what my event card's going to be. That succeeds, and the event card is going to be no effect. I'll take the no effect. All right. So I'm going to do at least one of these cards, and we'll see, so we can show the mechanic and how it's going to go. I'm going to do a search for the staging areas for Charlie. Again, it automatically succeeds. And so this Charlie reinforcement card is actually now revealed. It's a big one, 5. Okay, so Charlie is just going to have a ton of stuff flooded into it. So here's the thing. So let's say, well, first of all, so I'm able now to attack the staging area, and I'll put a mnemonic here that I can do that. So I can now attack the Charlie staging area. That allows me, for each hit inflicted, to reduce the amount of that reinforcement by 1. And so if that was a little piddly card, with like 1 reinforcement or 2 reinforcements, I can get 1 or 2 hits on there and freeze the reinforcements. So I can keep them at a lower level for more than a turn. With that 5 being there, I'd have to do a lot of pain in order to have lasting damage. So even if I follow through with the 5 core request, I'll do 4 cast hits, and I'll peg it down 1 for winning, and I'll peg it down 1 for its retreat. And heck, maybe I even get a really good card and I get another retreat out of it through doubling. So maybe I get 3 pips off of this and get it down to 5. They've got 5 more coming in. So I'm going to have to pull off at least 2 hits on that. That's going to be 4 hits here, 2 hits there. That's my entire Air Force that entire turn. So I don't think I have an opportunity there on Charlie to hit something and really freeze out that force. And this has been one thing that I've been kind of wrestling with as I've been playing this game. And Tom, I'm happy to hear from you in the chat if you've got thoughts on when would be the appropriate time to do this. But given that, you know, the decisions that we're making here in the air planning phase really involve unity of effort and focusing on some very specific things to do, I never feel like I've got surplus forces to pin down a German force by then going in for the follow-on forces attack. I would always, you know, maybe if I didn't lose so much here and I had more to go, I can probably not worry about an OEW escort this mission. I could probably do a 2-hit on OCA and leave 2 forces. But again, I'm just not sure that I want to go through this. And actually do a follow-on forces attack. So let me, you know, I'm not going to worry, you know, for Delta and Fox, there's just nothing I can really do there to beat those guys or get them to retreat. So, you know, maybe for fun, let me do a follow-on forces determination here on Bravo as well. So that succeeds, and I'll flip Bravo over. 3 again. So even if I do the win and I do the optional retreat, I'm still also going to have to get a couple hits on that card. And maybe I will. Maybe I will, just to exercise the mechanic. But I don't feel like yet I've grokked the best way to utilize the follow-on forces attacks, at least in this stage of the game. All right. So that'll be it for my recon. Air planning. All right. Let's figure out what we're doing here. let's do this. Let me do a non-PGM'd attack of the stealth fighter against Deed. That'll bring us from 4 to 5. Let me do then a PGM'd attack of the capable tornado, or not tornado, I'm sorry, Aardvark F-111 against decap. And he'll need some escort, but that'll allow me to get 3 hits on decap, which gets me quite a lot. All right. So, and just verifying the benefit of decap includes that allows any resolution card to be redrawn. So if I then bundle this guy with someone else on OCA, that would bring me to 7. Or just give him a PGM. Screw it. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So I'll max out Deed. I'll max out OCA. I'll have a max out strike on decap, which allows me to take a little bit more risks up in the top part of my field. And I actually have a few more forces now because I'm not going to be committing to OEW. All right. Yep. So Tom's reporting then, giving a similar impression on what I've been seeing. I'd be interested in maybe in some point seeing session reports on Board Game Geek or something from some of these playtesters that are using these effectively, because I'd really like to see that up and to help up my game on a good way to use this. I might have enough forces here to go after Bravo, maybe we get a hit on Bravo so that we don't lose that fight, and then we get a follow-on forces attack. Really, I just need 7 here. I don't know that I get 4 on Charlie. I am somewhat incentivized to send something at Charlie. Let's see what we can do. Let's start spreading these guys around. So I'll take these damaged guys as CAS attacks. They're going to do just fine for that. So let's see here. Oh, you know what? Before I completely forget, let me give these guys escort. I'm going to have 5 on Deed, so the guaranteed worked. No. Pooh. Give you a good seed, give you a good seed. All right. All right, so looking now at really good CAS hits, we're going to have, let's just get some crummy ones going out. 2, 2, 2, 2. One of these I will probably replace with someone far more capable. In fact, several of them I probably will, but let's see what we can get going. All right. In fact, let me do this right now. Start spreading out some seed here. We got some 5s. And a 4. So what I'm thinking about doing is like maybe combining one of these, say a 7 and a 3, to be a potent strike force, so I can get 2 hits on 1 and hopefully accomplish the 5-core ask. So that would be, alternatively, actually, I could, well, let's just go with that. All right, so what does that then leave me? Not awful on seed. I'm kind of a little thin on air escort, and I might be okay with that. What are the 3 values in the air counters each represent? Throne Wolf, good question. The first value on the counter is the air intercept value, so its air value, how well it does against enemy air units. And so you wouldn't want to put a counter with a 0 up against an air in the air escort spot. The middle is the ground attack value. So this is what you would use for CAS in the primary if you're doing a close air support. You can see it here, ground attack for close air support, or for seed, or for follow-on forces. And then the last one is the strike rating. That's what you're going to use when you're attacking a track or decap. And so really you have three primary fighters that are going against the strikes. That's going to be the F-117 and the two F-111s. You've got others that can fill in a pinch, but those are your primary ones. The multi-rolls can do it too at 5.22. I'm actually very, very much considering leaving several of these undefended to air and going to be using what is hopefully a very successful decap strike to go for it. I'm really thinking about doing that. So let's say drop this here, and maybe I actually do air escorts on those two since they're a little. I really don't want to get any more damaged on those. Is this hubris, folks? What do you think? Do you think I'm overreaching here? Maybe I shouldn't do this. If I can combine, say, 7, 1, and 2 against Charlie, this would, if they all succeed, give me 4 hits, which will cause that mission to succeed. I already have these 3 missions. I potentially have 9 missions going, so a couple of them could fail, and I could still do the major air offensive. And then these ones, let's see, I can put one of them, say raid 3, here doing the follow-on forces against the Bravo. And I'll have one of them actually hit Bravo. Let's say we'll have 6 hit Bravo. And then I'll do one up here against Echo. Make sure I don't let them walk back into Munich. Okay, so we can try this. How do you all feel about me not having air escort? We're going to be up here at 7, which means 6 or under we can use. I've got a lot of pilots. I'm going to have hopefully a lot of 2 values there on that decap strike to use. So I'm actually thinking this might be okay. If I put, super good pilot here, 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 and here, we actually have a pilot on each of those missions that I can use to re-pull the air escort card if we need to. So, all right, well, yeah, let's just go for it. Why not? I want to start by doing the decap strike. I believe with these values that we're looking really good on how this is going to play out. In fact, it's got to work. So, So I'm getting encouragement from the chat to take these risks. So starting with decap, -5 is a guaranteed success, which is good because that was an awful card. And then -4 is again guaranteed with the 7 here, which again, another awful card. So decap's going to work. That was precision guided. So that's 3 hits total, 2 here. And I'm going to do an unusual thing. Usually I always go into the deck. I've pulled a lot of 10s here already. Yeah, boy, quite a few of them. There are 3 of them in here. One more is in the deck. You know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to find the 10-10 that's still in here. That I think is in here. Oh, okay, Tom, can I have a ruling? Can I, not having found the 10s, do I have to pick one of the ones that I'm looking at? Or can I get one of these now? Whoops. Playing the rules as written on the decap strike is choose any one resolution card from either discard pile of the deck and remove from the game. If the chosen cards from the deck, reshuffle the deck. So it says I choose any card from either location. If I choose it from the deck, I have to reshuffle. I'll go ahead and say not finding one that would be smarter to pull. I'll pull the one that I am not going to want from there, and I'll shuffle anyway because I looked at the deck. So same effect. Not game breaking, but slightly, not terribly clear. Okay, so I've got 2 here. We're looking good. So let me run deed now. And so looking for not a 10. And of course, like I said, I just found that there weren't any 10s in there. So the deed succeeded, which increases its value by 1. So now we're pegged there. And let's look at OCA. So guaranteed to succeed on all fronts. So OCA succeeds and succeeds. Oh, those are good. Those are decent cards. So, and that had a munition on it for 14 combat factors, which are the 2 I needed. Again, I'm back to being pegged out. So, let's start resolving these missions. And I'm going to kind of go backwards. Well, no, I want to go forwards through this because I want to know if I need to use these. So let me actually go with raids 1, 2, and 7. I'll resolve 7 first. Air escort phase. That's not the number I wanted. I will use the pilot shit to draw another one. Also not the number I wanted. Now the question is, now that I've done that, can I then chain into my decap 1? Which, to be honest, I'm slightly hesitant on because I like using that to redraw my ground forces. But it does say that allows you to draw a second card in the resolution phase. And the pilot chit has the same verbiage, draw a second card. So I've drawn my second card. So you're saying yes on the chaining? Rules as written, the exact verbiage is they each say I can draw a second card, and I've drawn a second card. So, I mean, I could see it being interpreted either way. The nice thing, everyone, about solitaire games is you're playing against yourself. So do something that sounds fair. The fair thing, of course, here is I am using a resource, right? And so I'll say that I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to use a resource. I'm going to have to spend something and lose something to gain something. And I think the writing's just on the wall here that it didn't work. So, crud. So we're just going to call that one a loss. 7 was not a successful raid, which means I'm not going to be able to satisfy 5 core. The aircraft that gets damaged from this has the one closest to 1, which will be 20 here. Oh, that's a nice one. Darn it. Okay, now we'll do 1 and 2. Drawing for 1, air is guaranteed to succeed. Ground combat is anything that's not a 10. Oh, it's my shuffle. All right, so we're going to do ground combat again, looking for a not 10. Okay. Good. So raid 1 succeeds for 1 hit. I'll hold on 2 for the moment. I'll go to raid 3. Air escort. Ugh. Use the pilot. Shuffle. I don't want to shuffle these 2. These cards are awful. All right, so back to that card. This is for air, which again I'm not very good at. Ooh, okay, good. So air succeeds without any air escort. Seed, no, I didn't get a 10. So raid 3 is a success. Oh, and that's actually my follow-on forces attack. Maybe putting the cart before the horse a little bit on that because I need raid 6 to succeed for this to really mean anything, probably. So we'll get that. So now let's go into raid 6. Again, naked in the air, so I need a 6 or under. Good. And now, I only have 4 there, so I need a, let's see, a 9 minus 5 is 4, so I actually need an 8 or under here. 7. Good. Okay. So, raid 6 is successful, and that's a cast sortie. So 1 hit on that guy. Let's go to raid 8 to see how we do here. Again, no air escort. It's fine. And then ground 4, so 8 or under. 7, we're good. Okay, so raid 8 succeeds for 1 hit. How many successful raids do we have at this point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How'd raid 3 do? Raid 3 must have succeeded because I didn't flip anything. Yeah, that was the one that hit the follow-on forces. Okay, and now raid 2, which guaranteed to succeed in the air with that OCA value and an escort. And now on the ground, not a 10, not a 10. So raid 2 succeeds, giving us one more hit here on Charlie. So I didn't get all the hits I wanted. We didn't get all of them, but that's how it works sometimes. Okay, so all of the raids are resolved. Major air offense succeeded with 8 successful missions. However, the V Corps, 5 Corps did not get it. So the 3 RP offset, I get no RP for this turn. I didn't lose any. And we're now going to go to ground combat, remembering that I still have 1 here. So I'm even on Alpha, and that's 2 in my favor. So Alpha holds. Now going to Bravo, 1 in my favor, +4, so we're good there. Going to Charlie, 2 in my favor, and 2 more is a success. Delta is going to steamroll whoever that is. They do. 1 point for the Axis, or for, I'm sorry, I did it again. 1 point here for the Warsaw. For Echo, that's 1 in my favor. Success. And then finally, I'm going to lose this one yet again. Yeah, okay. So let's see, what do I get here? I get 2 retreats of my choice. And I think what I do here is I want to give myself a little bit of a buffer near Munich. So I think one of them is me getting a victory point back by getting a buffer. And I think the other one is probably going to be, so I don't lose the VP from having this guy parked someplace, probably Strasbourg. So I'm going to do 1 here. Again, I'm going to lose it, I know. But this is the last turn that they get a VP for just being on their objective. So I want to give them as few of those as possible. So those are the 2 retreats that I forced. Get rid of that. And so that's the end of ground combat. Reinforcements. Okay, so we'll actually see how this plays out. So for Alpha, he's at 7, and he's going to get 1 back up to 8. For Bravo, I didn't quite do enough to Bravo now, did I? So Bravo will be getting 3. I hit the follow-on forces for 1, which brings it down to 2. He will be getting 2. So he goes from 7 to 8. So again, you see how it's really a nuanced case here that doing the follow-on forces attack will work for you. In that case, it was kind of a wasted effort for me, but it was nice to flex the system. Charlie gets 5, so he's back up to 8, and everyone else is at full strength. So we'll just collect the cards and get rid of them. Okay, so that's the end of the Warsaw reinforcements. We'll give them new cards for next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now 1 for me. Oops, not 2 for me. 1 for me. Okay, 7 NATO reinforcements. So where can I put 7 that would do me good? I can actually put all 7 here in Strasbourg, right? Essentially, now that I've done that, jam my foot in the door and keep that line from falling easily. Actually, I think that's what I do. So Strasbourg goes from 1 to 8. Good. And now maybe I can start working them back. So I think we're in the working them back last third of the game. So those are the reinforcements. Random event was a no event from earlier. Get rid of that. Resources. Okay. 2 of the Warsaw forces are actually in their starting location. So I'll go from 0 to 2. I have all of the cities. All 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Me from 2 to 6. And finally, I have both tracks maximized, which gets me from 6 to 8. Not bad for only having completed one of my objectives. Now I'll spend these. I have all the pilots I want to use. In fact, I spent probably more than I really wanted to. I've spent 3 of my 5 pilots. but I can't buy any more pilots. And so now that essentially means that I'm going to have to be content with repairs, which I have none of, or getting more PGMs. So it's 6 points for 2 PGMs. So I'll move that down, get back up to 3, and you can bank the extra RP from turn to turn. So yeah, 1 extra hit here on decap. It's fine. End of turn phase. So now we're going back to the cleanup. All right, so while we're doing cleanup and not really doing any game decisions, from those of you watching the stream, or maybe a few of you that have joined late, any questions or comments, observations? What do you think from what you're seeing? Love to hear your opinions and your thoughts, particularly as I'm just moving chits. You'll note that all the decisions actually I do have a decision to make here. Put all these here for the moment. Now, all the decisions really are mostly in that raid planning phase, so do not skimp. Give yourself the time there. Think about it. That's actually where the most interesting stuff's going to happen. All right. Okay, so the interesting decision that I have to make now is, where do I send these 3 broken guys? I have 3 of them. It's, I particularly like to get this guy back. This 474 is the Tornado, and no, I'm sorry, it's the Jaguar, and he is as capable as an A10. Like, that is absolutely something that I want to have. So I think I will bring him back to the damage. I won't be able to do much this turn, but with a nice pile of RP, with 3 RP, I can bring him all the way back next turn. So I think I have to just suffer 1 turn of not having 1 fewer units and be okay with that. Okay, I think that's what I do. So that was air mission display step. There's no OEW. I get to check each of these for declining. So deed declines, womp, and OCA declines. Oh, come on. All right, so a pair of jammers will give me OCA back. It's fine. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Nuclear escalation, none, and on turn 6 here, he finally does get 1 more VP, and that's the last of those VP he's going to get. All right, so that's the end of turn 6. We're on to turn 7. All right, I see that we got a couple folks here leaving. Thank you all both very much for coming. It's it's small enough that we can see the whole thing. One, not have to go to Vassal. It fits great on a piece of table. I would say this is going to be saved on Twitch, and we're also going to post this to YouTube. So if you do have to bail out due to the late hour, you can look for my posts on Board Game Geek. I'll post to this game's page, or I'll also post a note to Twitter at AlecMG with a link to the recording, so you can catch the recording. But I think, I'm just going to do it. I do have to work tomorrow, but sacrifices must be made, because I think we can get a good conclusion here. So let's do this now that we've gotten into the rhythm. And thank you for your feedback, gang, on how things are looking. If you do have feedback for me on the stream setup or sound levels or things being blurry, do let me know. Tom, didn't miss anything. We're actually sitting at 12 VP here at the end of turn 6. We just started turn 7. I'm just going to press on. I want to see if I can finish this game in one sitting. But the recording will be posted. All right, let's pull our objectives. All right, 1 and 2 course. That's going to be Alpha and Echo. Alpha I'm fine with, because I do want a retreat there. Echo I'm fine with. I do want to retreat there. So I will absolutely try and do this. So that's objectives. Recon phase, with OCA being 6, I get all the recon I want. So here's going to be the headquarters recon, which succeeds. And so we'll be able to do decap. I'm going to do the battlefield surveillance card recon. Again, that succeeds. And this is an awful, awful, awful card. All air units in the repair box are moved to the damaged box. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to put that card away. And I'll take the random pull. And I am not going to do this follow-on force mess anymore. You know what? Let me just see. I think I want to do Alpha and Echo. So here's the pull for Alpha. It works. It has to work. And Alpha is getting 3 reinforcements. So I'd have to do a lot of work there to have anything happen. Echo, I'll also do a staging look at. That works. Echo will be getting no reinforcements. Now that's interesting. So this now is information. I pulled the shuffle card for Echo, which means that it doesn't get anything. So I don't have to do a following forces attack, even though I'm eligible to. But I do know that it's not going to be getting anything. So I could potentially try and punish Echo as much as I can to try and get it down some, and it'll sit down for a little bit, and I won't have to worry much about it. Cool. Okay. Good to know. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do any others. So now we're going to do air planning. So here's what I think I'm going to do, everyone. I think I am going to put my broken bits here on offensive EW and just let this sit as a temporary 7. It's still a 7. I am then going to drop the F-117 on Deed by himself, no PGMs, and let him do that. Which will get me that coming up. And I'm going to do a full up raid on decap using both of my strike aircraft. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I want to do that, I think. Okay. I mean, yeah, screw it. Let me just use the big one and a PGM. You can have all the air escort you want. Just need to have a 6 or better. No, I'm sorry. 10 minus 5 is 5. So yeah, I need to have a 6 or better on his escort. So there we go. Okay. So I'm going to have a big decap again. Deed's going to work. OCA is covered. I don't actually have to hit it. And so now I just have raids. I'm going to want to get 2 hits on Echo, 3 hits on Alpha. Okay. And so this is going to be one of those things where I probably want a small bit of redundancy. Like if I could plan on getting, 4 hits on each of them, then potentially they're all going to work and nothing can go sideways. But that being said, I've got a pretty good board state here, so I'm not really worried about things going sideways much. And in fact, I'm going to actually take, since I've got such strong air cover, this F-15 is just complete overkill on air-to-air. Anything would do fine. Heck, I mean, like this is even comparable, and I have the ability to also use this guy as a token, CAS run. So I think that's what I'm going to do. All right, so how do we want to do this? Let's try and get, that's a strike I need to get. Here we go. So here are 10 ground combat factors. In the ground, and throw you an F-15. So 1 is going to hit for 2 on the ground. So we can put you, and it's absolutely guaranteed to succeed. So this guy will go against Echo, and it will work. So we're going to get Echo to retreat, and he'll keep walking back. Let's now turn our attention to Alpha. I have to try and get 3 hits on Alpha. So maybe I want to put this guy. No, all right. So let's see how many onesie raids I can make without overextending myself too much, like one could argue I had just done previously. So if I put those as my seed, put you as my token CAS, and then got my air escorts here. So that's actually completely going to work. I've got high likelihood of success on the seed missions. I'm guaranteed on air escort. Each of those are going to score 1 hit for 3 hits total. Okay. And so that would be raids 2, 3, and 6. And you only put 3 missions on a given target. So if I put all 3 of these on Alpha, that would work. Now, we do have a few more in our pocket. I also have PGM. So for instance, if I use a PGM, put it here on the F4s, that's 8. combined with the 2 from this F-15 is actually not 2 from the Dutch F-15 will be 10. So that would actually be 2 hits for raid 6, which again is pretty much guaranteed. I'm going to put the pilot on there, give me a little bit of a margin. So raid 6 is going to carry 2 for 1. So I can either choose to keep, remove one off, which still allows that to succeed, and kind of spread the wealth a little bit to make sure that I, don't get as many bad rolls. And so let's do that. Let's call it like that. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. It's not doing a lot for me. I could give him a PGM, maybe. Yeah, let's do it. So he'll get a PGM, which brings him to 8. I can pair him with raid 3, and so that's going to make that have 4. So let me... Well, actually, I don't know if that actually does anything for me. Let me drop that PGM. That doesn't do anything for me because, just having 1 is going to make it win. I think going to sit on him. I really think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. Well, yeah, let's do it. Let me drop this pilot someplace potentially somewhat useful. I'll drop him over here. Make sure that we don't lose our CF-18. So that's planning. So let's resolve these things now. Decap is guaranteed to succeed. So 8 is guaranteed. 7 at this level is guaranteed. So decap is successful. I'll see if there's a 10 in here. There's not. I'll just shuffle up my few. Let me find my least favorite 10. All of the 10s are my least favorite. They all have really good events, though. So, yeah. You know what? I'm just going to take the 9-10 out, actually, to get resolving reinforcements, double the NATO reinforcements. You know what? I'm going to take out the 10-10 that I have. Okay. So, these are discards. Done. So, decap succeeded, and that's 2 hits here, which I'll use. For deed, looking for a not 10. It's a not 10. So, my deed strike succeeds, so we're pegged out again. And now let's just start resolving these. I'm going to start by resolving raid 1, which again, at 5 combat factors, succeeds on OCA. And at 7, with a deed level of 5, succeeds on air. So raid 1 is a success for 2 hits, since, yeah, there were 2 aircraft on that one. And we've succeeded on that mission. Now I will have to do a shuffle. All right, let's go for raid 6 next. That's our one with, that would give us 2 hits. So raid 6, air escort phase has to work, and it does. If I draw anything other than a 10 here, we're good, and I did. So raid 6 succeeds for 2 hits. Where was that? That was up here on Alpha, right? Yeah. Okay, let's go on raid 3 now. Air succeeds. Don't get a 10. I didn't get a 10, so ground succeeds for the 3rd hit. So I've accomplished both of my objectives for the turn. And now finally raid 2, air succeeds and don't get a 10. I didn't get a 10. So ground succeeded for 1 hit as well. I'm going to have a lot of pulls here to make sure I don't get anything silly in the ground combat results. So lots of success. I got 2 on Echo. I got 3 on Alpha, so those succeeded. I gained 5 RP for that, which actually now brings me to 7. I'm going to be pegged on RP again. But really I wanted these for the retreats. So now we're going to draw for each of these. So drawing first for Alpha at 3 in my favor. That's now 5 in my favor, so that loses 1. Now going Bravo, 1 in my favor. 2 in my favor. Charlie, even, 3 in my favor. Delta, even, 5 in my favor. That was a good card. Echo, 2 in my favor. 3 in my favor now. And then finally, Fox, I don't pull a card for because he's at the end of his line. Okay, but now we do the retreats. So Echo and Alpha each retreat 1. So Echo comes back to here. 1. And Alpha comes back to here, vacating a 2 victory point city, so I get 2 VP back. He's back to 10. Okay, so that was the ground combat phase and the retreats. We'll now go into the reinforcements. Like I said, all of these guys are going to reinforce except for Echo. He got the shuffle. Everything else has at least a 1 on it, and I didn't do any follow-on force hits. So four, big cards. That's where all the 10s were. Wow, look at all the 9s and 10s under there. Glad they got stuck up there for a while. So the only one that doesn't upgrade is Echo. Echo stays at his previous state. So Delta, there we go. All right. So get them 6 new cards. So maybe at this point is now that I've gotten them kind of going back to the wall is when I start looking at doing follow-on force attacks. I was really like to peg them down and not have to do casts. And actually, I think maybe we can do a pivot here from casts to follow-on forces where we get them back against the wall. We get them now under where I don't have to do cast to beat them. I'm going to beat them because I'm more like, for instance, right now, I don't have to do a single cast here on Echo. I just have to find his follow-on forces and kill them, and I'll slowly whittle him down, and there won't be anything to do. So maybe that's what I do. Okay, so NATO reinforcements here, 6. So how do I want to do this? Of course, my front line is fine. I'd like to push him out, but be that as it may. So I think with 6, I'm going to try and work on my backstop a little bit. You notice I'm like 1, 1, 2, 1. So if I do 2 to each of these, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a buffer to for something bad to happen, and then I can just drop a lot more in there real quick. So those are my reinforcements. Random event, truly random event, no effect. Okay, and resource points. I've got 3 people back to their starting position for 3 RP, giving me to 10, and I've got all 4 of my cities, and everything's pegged. So 6 spillover, oh well. And now I get to spend them. So one thing that I'm going to do is it costs me 1 RP to move him to repaired, and then for another 2 RP, I can actually move him all the way to basing, which I will do. So another 2 RP to bring him to basing. I get him back. He's huge. And now I have 7 RP. I will spend 6 of them for 2 more PGMs. Okay, I think we got a handle on this, folks. I think we're looking good. So let me just pull up the rest of these forces and have you all tell me what we're doing next. Happy to take suggestions on. I think we try and do follow-on force attacks on Echo now, at the very least. I think we can do that. And maybe we can look at seeing if we can do a 1-2 punch on a few of these guys so that we can get into a similar position. But I like the idea of not having, because CAS essentially, it's a bill you always pay because you can't guarantee that you're going to win necessarily. And so you want to do CAS. Okay, boy, do I want to repair these F-18s? No, I don't think so. Nope, I like them. All right, so I just brought all those back. Let's now do our OEW. OCA falls 1, but that's fine. Oops. Okay, we're good. Boy, I didn't even need these. All right, and Deed and OCA. So Deed fall, Deed stays. That's an odd number. OCA falls. So I'm actually probably going to want to do a strike here on OCA. So let's now, that's the end of the turn. We are at 7, so they don't get victory points for being at the end of their line, and they don't have 20 VP. So now we'll go on and we'll do turn 8, and starting with objectives. First 2, I got a shuffle card, so we will shuffle all of these, and again, only draw 2 objectives. Okay, 2 objectives are major air offensive and 2 cast strikes on Echo. I'd rather not do the cast strikes on Echo if I can avoid it, since I am guaranteed. So maybe I don't do it. It would just be losing 2 RP. But let's see how this goes. Okay, air recon, all guaranteed to work since I'm at OCA 5. 10 minus 5 is 5, which is lower than 6. Yeah. So decap strike works. Let me check battlefield surveillance, see if I can pick an event that I'd like. Yeah, radar love. Move deed 1 marker 1 space to the right on its track. If it's already in the rightmost space, reduce their VP by 1. I am absolutely going to be doing that event. You bet I am. And now let me take a look at the Echo follow-on forces. Okay, so Echo's going to be receiving 4 follow-on forces. That's their card. So if I could do a couple of big hits, and actually, so maybe I do 2 cast hits to bring him from 7 to 5, then anything I do there on the follow-on forces, it really is gravy. Yeah, those big numbers up there really kind of complicate things. Let's see what we can do. Do I want to do anything else? Again, I still think I have to peanut butter spread some casts out here to maintain my lines. So I think maybe not. I think that's what I do. All right, and now let's assign raids. OCA is down. I don't have to touch deed. I've got a big decap I can do. So let me put a PGM on the stealth fighter, and they will hit OCA. I'll do kind of a standard. I'll bring that to 7. I'll kind of do a standard PGM strike with my good F111 against decap again, which will bring that all the hits I can muster on decap. So we'll give him escort, and if we're at 5 there, again, I'm going to need somebody reasonably beefy on cast, so I'll only grab one of the warthogs. Okay, so we're good there. That mission is a guaranteed hit on decap. So now what is it that we want to do? I need 7 successful raids these turn. I have 2. And so I need 5 more. So let's figure out how we're going to do this. I need to get 2 cast hits on Echo if I want to succeed on that. Well, first of all, let's figure out how many RP I'm going to get if nothing else moves. I'll get the 4 RP from the cities, assuming I can keep everyone parked against the end of their parking spots here, and I succeed my major air offensives. I would have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 more for 8, and I'll be maxed out on some tracks. I could potentially, just so long as I don't lose anything. All right, yeah. I'm kind of talking myself out, and I'd love to hear your opinions in the chat on whether or not I actually need to worry about Echo on close air support. But let's see what we can do. I do have a lot of units, so we can work something here. So let's see. Let me drop another PGM on this 5. That would be so raid 1 potentially. That's 2 PGM. Good cast. Huge fighter escort, and that's going to be 2 guaranteed hits here on Echo, bringing them down to 5. I'm going to need to do a couple of raids against the follow-on forces if I want that to stick. I have to hit them for at least 1, but preferably 2 or more, using the same combat factors. So I'm out of PGMs. So if I take these. See, how can I do this? If I take a 3 and a 7, that would be 10 combat factors. I can put that on raid 2. So that's another. You know what though? I need a lot of raids. I don't need efficient raids. I need just lots of them for my major air offensive. So let me look at the doing lots of them theory, and see how this might work for me. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 7. And I just need really anything to strafe the ground. So let me get some F-16s here with their air-to-ground factors. That's fine. Let me throw out them on air escort. That'll maximize my air escort. Okay, so I got a lot of air escort. I can even say swap you out here. Maybe even try and make another one. So potentially here I could have 6 air-to-ground raids, all of which completely protected from the air, all of which reasonably protected. Let's put a pilot here and a pilot here. All of which reasonably protected from seed, which would give me some buffer here on the 7 air escorts. Raid 1 would already give me 2 hits guaranteed there. And so if I drop, say, 3 of these on follow-on forces on Echo, which I can do, up to 3. Is it 3 per line, or is it 3 per in planning target box? So 3 raids per target box. So I can do 3 raids on that follow-on forces, and I still have 2 raids that actually can get me 1 hits on things. So I can make sure I don't have a mistake here in the Strasbourg area, and I can make sure that I don't let these guys get too far away from their line here. All right, so let's do that. I think that's how we're going to go. So I'm going to roll my decap strike first. It's guaranteed to succeed with the strength of the guys I have here. So OCA and Seed, both of which succeed. That's a successful raid, and 3 hits on the decap. So 2 leftovers, no 10s, so I'll have to go to the discard for those. If I remember right, there were a lot of them there. There we go. Get rid of that AWACS event. Not going to need that anymore. Okay. So decap successful. We're starting to see now that we're getting rid of finally a good number of these awful cards. So that was that. Let me look over here now on OCA. Just don't get a 10. I didn't get a 10. So OCA raid succeeds, 2 hits on OCA. So we are now again pegged. Good place to be. Okay. Resolving raid. Well, let's resolve, say, these follow-on force raids. So resolving raid 6. OCA is automatic, but I just need to get a not 10 on seed. Got a not 10. So raid 6 succeeds for 1 hit marker on the follow-on forces. Let's now go to raid 3 and 2 and 3. I just don't like how soft these guys are. Yeah, so I'll start with raid, say 2. So going for raid 2 against air, he's fine, and against this one's completely automatic. So raid 2 succeeds for another hit on the follow-on forces. Now I need to shuffle. Okay, so raid 1 is going to be an automatic raid given the strength of those forces. So against air, against ground, both succeed. Raid 1 does 2 hits because of the PGM. So 2 hits there. Raid 1 succeeds. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excuse me, 5 successful raids and 3 raids remaining on the board. So let's now go for 7. Yeah, let's go for raid 7. It automatically succeeds in the air, given the strength, and against seed, that's a strength 4 unit. So this needs to be not a 9 or a 10, and it's a 7. We're fine. So raid 8 succeeds for 1 hit on alpha. Let's see, 3 and 7 are left. Let me do 3. Let me do 7. 7 automatically succeeds in the air. Don't get a 10. Don't get a 10. Didn't get a 10. Okay, so that's a third hit against the follow-on forces. Which finally brings us to 3. Automatic in the air. And automatic on the ground with the 7. So raid 3 succeeds, causing 1 hit on Echo. Okay, I think we've got air dominance now. 6 successful raids. So both of these happen. That's 5 RP, bringing us to 6. And we're now in ground combat phase. So we have advantage of 1 on Alpha, which is a 2. So Alpha succeeds. We have an advantage of nothing on Bravo. Bravo is even. Oops, shuffle. Okay. Oops. Okay, so again, we're doing Bravo, advantage of nothing. 4. Okay, well that's good. So Bravo holds. Advantage of nothing on Charlie. 2. Charlie holds. Advantage of 1 on Echo. Echo holds. I'm sorry, Delta. Advantage of 3 on Echo. Ooh, 6. Let's do some math here. I've got 10, 16 versus their 7. That's actually a double. So he reduces and he retreats. And since he can't go anywhere, the retreat is another step loss. That was really good. And all this following forces, we're going to crush him pretty good. And then finally, regrettably, Salzburg is doing just fine. All right. So now we get the results of these offensive. That was great that we got a retreat result because he's about to get another retreat result. So here's the retreat result from the 2-core counterattack. And he retreats again, which actually flips him over down to 4. So he is looking pretty sad. Oops. And the major air offensive now gives us 2 more retreats. And I am going to push Hamburg back out to reclaim 2 more victory points. Gets me to 8. Bremen gets his forces. And I'm going to push Salzburg out and give myself a toehold here. So that's 8. And then 1. That's another victory point. Okay. It's not nothing. The counterattack is happening. So that's ground combat, reinforcements. I'm expecting all these to be reinforced. So Alpha reinforces at least for 1. Bravo reinforces at least for 1. Charlie reinforces at least for 1. Yeah, quite temporary here. Delta reinforces at least for 1. And Echo reinforces. Oh, actually, this would have happened first. I'm sorry, but either way. Reinforces for 4, but that's 3 less due to the hits, so it only reinforces 1. So Echo goes from 4 to 5. So I actually don't have to do any casts on Echo next turn. I can just focus on follow-on forces. And Foxtrot is full up, so that doesn't matter. Okay. 6 new cards for my adversary. 1 for me. 6 NATO reinforcements, and that's going to go right here to get you to 7. Great. Reinforcement step complete. Random event I had already saved. And that is move the deed marker to the right by 1. If it's already there, reduce their VP by 1. So that's another VP for me. Okay. So that's random events. Resources. I'm already at 6. I'm going to get 4 for them being on the wall to 10. 4 more for my cities too. So again, 6 VP on the table. That's fine. RP on the table. That's fine. I'll take all the RP I can get. Now I get to spend the RP. Really, at this point, the only thing I have to spend on, I have all my pilots, all my planes that I want to repair are fine. None of them are in the repair me bin. So I think I'm just going to buy 3 PGMs. I think that's what I do. All right, and now intern. So I'll clean up here. Still have 2 pilots in my pocket, which is great. And I've really not been using my decap, but it's an insurance policy I want to keep. So I'm going to keep doing that until Tom tells me to stop. Oops. Count her down. Yeah. All right. So get these going here. I have to say to everyone, this is probably, I would say, risk of jinxing it, about as well as I've done in any of these games. I did 3 scenarios of the normal build-up, the extended build-up, the easy scenario, if you will, and bragged heroically that I squeaked out at like a minor victory on that yesterday. So it took me 3 games to kind of really get into the system and get a feel for all this. Throne Wolf is noting here that the game is really going in my favor in the last third, and I think that's a byproduct of kind of how we set it up. Like, I think that we chose to take the right risks. We really limited ourselves. You notice that when we started, we only did like 2 very carefully guarded cast missions. And then we, now that we have air superiority, we're feeling a lot more comfortable being a lot more ambitious and taking far fewer. We're able to effectively take less risk because we're doing so well. Maybe something more to maintain a challenge once you gain momentum. I would say, maybe that's fair. I certainly felt the game had enough challenge in the first 3 playthroughs that I've done. And I don't think it's quite that I've grokked the system, but I think the system does reward, and this is actually a thing for any good war game, is, granted that this is a hypothetical scenario, but we want to say that historically accurate play should lead to historically accurate outcomes, right? That's what makes this a war game and not just a game. So if I'm playing Napoleon at Waterloo and I do all the things that they did, I should not always get the same outcome, but have some stochastic process. If I'm doing things in the war game the way that are historically accurate, that the historically outcome is in the cards, if it was a probable outcome. And so I think here, if you're playing by reasonable doctrine, but not neglecting the ground game, you can do okay. But this does reinforce, this is how we think air war happens, and I'm okay with that. Okay, let's see if I lose deed. I don't. If I lose OCA, I do. So I can get that back with a jamming mission. I don't actually have to, or maybe just a loner stealth aircraft. We'll see what we got here. Okay, nuclear stuff done. We're done with turn 8, on to turn 9. Let's keep going here and make sure that I actually have it. Okay, objectives. So my 2 objective cards are 1 and 2. So this is going to be Alpha and Foxtrot. And actually, I was planning on doing a lot in Foxtrot anyway. So yeah, great. So I'll do my decap strike, automatically succeeds. All my things are succeeding now because I have essentially air superiority. I'll do my battlefield surveillance, which succeeds, and my card option is move the deed marker to 0. No. I do not want to move the deed marker to 0. That's a terrible card. Why would you put that card in the game? Okay, so now battlefield surveillance. Foxtrot and Alpha are certainly options here. So that's for Alpha. Let's see, oops, I'm sorry. What's happening to Alpha here? 2 reinforcements for Alpha. That should be easy to work on. Let me look at Foxtrot. Of course, they succeed. So looking here, is it Alpha and Fox? Yeah, it's Alpha and Fox. All right, 3. Okay, so I have some decisions here. Let me take a look at Echo as well, since I seem to have them. Let me, kind of focus myself, prioritize. Oh, Echo is getting nothing. Again, good. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's do our air planning. The only thing that I really have to worry about strategically with my strike assets is what do I do for decap, what do I do for OCA? And I have 3 PGMs in my pocket. I am going to not allocate all the aircraft to OEW. I'm actually going to put the stealth on OCA without anything else. He's just going to get me that. I'm going to put a PGM on my more capable guy here. So that I get a really powerful thing. I've not been using these decap excess hits. Again, I've been playing very conservatively, but I like, it just makes me comfortable. I like having that as an insurance policy. I really, really do. And so maybe I'm locking up too many resources here. Okay, so what do I need? I need 2 hits on Foxtrot, 3 hits on Alpha, and then it says that we're happy, Bob's your uncle. I certainly want at least 1 hit. So let's do yeah. So let's start laying some of these out. We're going to have these more capable seed assets being seed. I'll put some of my damaged guys being my primaries. They'll be fine there. Now let's see what we can start doing here for little onesie hits. Yep, so this could be the thing where, you know, I do 6 raids. Oh boy, I do have 2 PGMs, so that's an option for me. And I do want to get 3 hits on Alpha and 2 hits on Foxtrot. So if I instead choose to prioritize a little bit, let's say I take a PGM onto this Harrier, and I have this Harrier running. That would be a 2-hit raid, and I can drive him towards Alpha. I'm not actually really sure I want this much on Alpha, to be honest with you. I really don't. Let me do it on Echo, on Foxtrot rather. So I'll get 2 hits on Fox. There's a question about where are the more challenging scenarios. This is reasonably challenging. I can't think the next one, you start with really bare bones. There's not a lot that you have in your options on the first turn. So, all right, so that's a 2-hit there. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4 hits kind of remaining on the board. Which, boy, how do I do this? So this satisfies that. There'll be a retreat, and I'll get a hit down on him. He'll be down to 7. Foxtrot is going to be getting 3 reinforcements, and so I'm going to have to do 3 hits back here, and I don't think that's going to happen. Now, on the other hand, if I can get 3 hits here and 2 hits here, Alpha will go down and stay down. So maybe I try and do that. So I need to get another hit in here somewhere, and let's see if I can do that by moving some things around. So if I combine this 7 with this 3, I will have 10 factors of that'll make it a 2 hit. So if I do that, that 6 will give me a 2 hit as well. And I can drop that on, where did I want to do that? I wasn't going to do that on Foxtrot. I was going to drop that, say, here on Alpha. That would be a 2 hit on Alpha. I still have a couple aircraft kind of around, so there's your air escort. I do have some more to work with. I do have some PGMs as well. If I have 3 more hits, and I want to do 1, 2, 3 at the very least. So, I mean, I can do that. I can do follow-in forces here. 1, 2, 3. And I actually have a whole nother raid if I want to do it. Why not? Oh, I don't have any seed over here. That's probably a problem. Yeah, probably a problem. Where can I get your seed from? Because I've been piling some folks up here. Well, you know what I can do, actually. Instead of doing that additional raid for number 8, I could instead, these 2 make 8 for seed, which is guaranteed. Don't really need the pilot at this point, but whatever. And I can throw you on as a little bit of seed support on one of these. Okay, again, I'm playing super conservatively. I'm just going to hit these 2. That should work out fine. I'm going to have a lot of decap. Let's do it. Okay, so decap strike is going to work no matter what sense of those combat factors. You know, both of those are going to work. Decap is fully successful. PGM equipped, so decap works. 2 excess hits go over here. Get to find a 10 that I don't want. Get rid of all the 10s. All right, I've got the 9-10 split here. Let me see if there's an actual 10-10 here. Oh, yep, there is. Okay. So I'm going to take the 10-10 out of the deck, shuffle it up. Okay, so that worked fine. Now I'm going to do the OCA strike. Don't get a 10. I didn't get a 10. OCA strike succeeds. So we're back to being maxed out. Oh, forgot to assign my pilot. Oh, well, that's fine. Probably would have assigned him here. It's the only place he would have done me any good. Okay, I'm just going to start resolving these, I guess, starting with piloted strike. Well, let me start with raid 7 here. So this will be 2 hits on raid 7, guaranteed on air-to-air, given that, and don't get a 10. I didn't get a 10. So raid 7 succeeds for 2 hits due to the PGM. Okay, and so now I've succeeded on the Foxtrot objective. Let's take a look here. Raid 1 is guaranteed, so I'll just do both cards. Raid 1 scores 1 hit on as Cass. Raid 6 now is going to be 2 hits. And this is going to be guaranteed on both. I've got 7 factors and 5 factors, so this is guaranteed. Okay. So 6 gives me another 2 factors here. So I've achieved all my objectives again. Forgot to put the 2 here. Okay, and now I've got the pile of... oh, hey, how about that? Yeah, 2 and 3. They all have to succeed. There's nothing I can do to have them not succeed. So raid 2 succeeds, and raid 3 is going to succeed as well. So in this case, maybe I could have covered more bases, and I've got a number of these combats that are going to be happening potentially at even. Now, a lot of the 0 attack resolves have gone away as I've been culling the deck, so that's going to be okay. But if I get a bad pull, I have a couple of decap strike options to get rid of it. So yeah, so that was 1 hit, which I didn't mark over here. And now I'm going to do air and ground, and raid 3 succeeds as well. That's a 2nd hit. All right. So I've done all that. I've succeeded on all my objectives for 5 RP up to 6. And now let's go through the ground attack phase. So I've got an advantage of 3 north with 1 more for 4. So good. And Bravo, I have no advantage. Plus 3, it succeeds. Charlie, I've got no advantage. Plus 1, it succeeds. Notice I'm not drawing any zeros because I removed them all from the deck. Delta, no advantage. Plus 2, succeeds. I have an advantage of 3 here at Echo. Plus 1 is 4. So get him down to 4. And on Fox, I've got an advantage of 1. 2 more. So success all around. And again, not needing these, but they're in my pocket. So that's at a ground. I'm going to get a retreat on Fox and a retreat on Alpha. So Fox comes back to here. And retreat on Alpha, but he has nowhere to go. So he's down to 6. So that's the ground combat phase. Alpha gets no reinforcements due to the follow-on forces attack. Now we're seeing that the follow-on force attacks are becoming useful. Echo gets no reinforcements because he pulled the shuffle card. And Foxtrot gets 3 reinforcements. He'll go back up to 8. Now looking at the, I don't know what these are cards. Bravo will get at least 1. Charlie will get at least 1. And Delta will get at least 1. I'd like to get Delta dislodged off that 2 and get 2 more victory points in my favor if I can. It's really like the last big thing. I'd like to get 2 retreats here. Well, actually, I only have 1 more turn, so hopefully I can get 1 more retreat. Okay, so that was flowing in reinforcements. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, and 1 for me. 9, okay. I'll take the 9. So, 1 here to 8. I get 8 more. Looking good. So let me work on my backfill. So that's, I have 8 more. I'll do 3 here. I have 6 more. Looking good, looking good. 7, 8. The Foxtrot was not on the end of its line. Tom, I did actually have a 7 force marker there. I was able to push it back at one point due to a major air offensive and get a footing again. Unless that's not a thing, which you can tell me. But using a pick a lane major air offensive retreat, I picked a lane that had been completed. And so feel free to tell me if that was a misread on my part of the rule. But yes, at various points here, actually, both Echo and Fox had completed their lanes. Okay, so what did I do? I did 2 and 2. So I think I had done 4 at this point. So I'll get 5 more. 1, 2... 3, 4, and 5. Sure. Okay. So follow-on force. I'm sorry. My reinforcements are complete. Random event. Don't be awful. Don't be awful. No effect. That's good. And now resource points. I'll peg out. Okay. So clarification here on all of this, and we can go ahead and it should not be awful to roll back in, Tom. It's apparently live from the horse's mouth here. The intent isn't that the major air offensives allow you to push something back out. That we would not have those as things that happened. So what that would be then is we would be specifically on these lanes. 2 more victory points down due to those, and then there would have been 2 or 3 more victory points from them sitting there during their objective turns. We'll give them 2 points for not being able to go back and look at the film. I can't roll back all the decisions that went into putting resources there and those other options, but be that as it may, there we go. So again, though, in terms of how the game might work, there still is a balance. I am still choosing to put attention and resources then to those lanes that I reopened. So it's not necessarily a strict benefit. It's, maybe to a certain extent by shutting down lanes, I now can focus and not worry about some things. So, yep, that's what you give her 7. No, it's fine, Tom. But thank you for the feedback. Okay, so I will... so Foxtrot then will say did not happen since I couldn't. So that's a net 1 RP benefit. Well, actually, no, I can still get close air support hits on a sector even if there's no fielded forces there. I can still shoot people, right? So either way, I've got enough of the cities in my control. I have enough of them in their starting positions that I will have maxed out RP there. So we'll leave it there. Okay. So that was RP phase. I'm now going to spend RP. Again, at this stage, I'm going to be spending RP for PGMs up to 4. And now picking things up. And we will roll here into the final turn. And within the limits of a couple of the slight misplays that we've done, I think that we've generally been following the spirit of the sim and the game. We can probably start adding things up here and declaring a level of victory. And the nice thing is, and again, just a lesson for all people coming new to wargaming. If there's no missions, I can't apply any forces there at all. Okay, so again, with the 4, 4, 8, and 2 maxed out tracks, that would have been 10, so that still would have pegged me. But one thing that I'd like to encourage everyone that is looking at wargaming and potentially feeling daunted a little bit by depth and complexity of rules, don't let that stop you from playing the game, and don't let that stop you from getting into the system. You're going to get rules wrong. Have fun. Don't worry about it. Learn the rule, fix it, do better next time. Particularly in these solitaire games, again, you're just playing yourself. You're not even cheating an opponent that goes, oh, well, so much for those 2 hours. So just get in and play it and do it, okay? That's the best way to learn these things. And you're not going to figure it all out in one sitting. So, watch a video, figure it out, push counters around and do it. Okay, no OEW. Let's see if these things fall. The deed track does not fall. The OCA track does fall. Okay, game turn 10. Let's see what we get for objectives. Bravo counterattack and a shuffle. Never mind, no Bravo counterattack. So, let's see here. While I'm shuffling, I was just looking at perhaps the verbiage on the rules for ground combat and objective retreats, just to see if there was something obvious that I had misplayed. Objective retreats are implemented after resolving ground combat. In addition to the effects above, for each retreat, moves one box to the right. The counterattacking NATO forces move to the now empty box. A new NATO force counter with cohesion value of 1 is placed into the box of the ground force vacated. Yeah. It's already on the starting lose. Yep. So, I mean, that seems to be ambiguous, but now I get it. All right. Yep. Thrun, good point. Always play solo a few times. Just, figure it out. All right. So, objectives. Big push. All right. 5 successful cast missions. And Delta is a priority, but we're not going to be able to do Delta. So if I can do 5 cast missions, I'll get to pick my retreat, though. So, there's that. So I'll set that up for 5 missions. OCA is down 1. But I have enough OCA here to do pretty much everything I want to do. Tom is admitting to not playing his own games correctly most of the time. And again, it's a model, it's a sim, it's an abstraction. It helps you understand it. I've been having a lot of fun. I think we've been doing great here, folks. Okay, so recon for decap, and all these are going to succeed given the level of superiority we have. So decap is a thing. Let's see what the event is, just in case we have an event that might lose SVP. Reduce the cohesion value of each WP force by 1. Well, not going to really matter, but I'll go ahead and take that to get the 8 card out of the deck. All right, so what's next? I don't think I need to do any fallen forces raids at this point, because quite honestly, the reinforcement step is going to be after any ground segments. So I think what we just do is we do casts on these forces. We and just kind of hold our lines, and the Soviets will have egg on their face for pretty much a failed invasion. So air planning, okay. We're going to drop you on OCA. Henceforth and conquer. I'm going to use a PGM, do the thing that we've been doing here recently about really schwacking the headquarters. It's been working out well. I don't see a reason to stop. So done, and we'll say you done. Okay. And now I have to do 5 successful cast missions, and this is going to be essentially a running out the clock exercise, because as long as we just get a hit on everyone, they're not going to advance, and the victory points are going to stay right where we want them to be. So if we are running out the clock here, and don't view this as particularly gamey. I mean, this is delaying and buying time is a military strategy. It's a holding action. It's a delaying action, and it's not as sexy as blowing stuff up a lot of times, but it certainly has an effect on the ground battle space. So I'm not even going to view this as a gamey thing. This is absolutely fine. So I'm going to let the F-16 drivers feel like they have some purpose in life and get them out there and start shooting things on the ground. We're going to, those are my broken guys. Let's see here. Start to get some air-to-air escorts going out. Actually, not going to let them feel like they've got that much to do. We'll have them do some air escorts where needed. There we go. And for seed, if I do that, we're golden. All right, so I think we're actually, I can't lose in any of these air-to-air combats. I can't lose in any of these air-to-ground combats. I just have overwhelming force at this point. So let's roll this out. And if I say, I just have to have 5 successful cast missions, pretty much guaranteeing that. So if I go, say, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Echo, and then do another one, say here in Echo. Actually, no, that's piling on. Actually, no, this is good. I do want to pile on. Okay, we'll pile on an Echo. Then we'll call that. Okay, so let's resolve these. Again, I'm going to start with decap. All of these are things now, again, I have such overwhelming force that they're going to work. So air escort, seed, all works. Decap, big hit. Get rid of something. Well, again, it's all going to work. So get rid of, just get rid of a card. And in fact, since these all are going to work, I'll skip the shuffling exercise and we'll just go ahead and place these to expedite the end here. So that'll be 2 successes, raids 1 and 2 here. The decap strike gives me that, the OCA. There wasn't a 10. If I do OCA next, that's fine. OCA succeeds. And so 2 successes there, 1 on each of these. Let's just figure out how far down we get the enemy action. So we'll call that success. Ground combat now against, and I'll just go ahead and reshuffle the deck. All of those would have required multiple card draws. So just to get us the deck in some state. There we go. I've got a randomized deck. I have an advantage of 3 in alpha, which goes to advantage of 6 in alpha, which is actually a doubling. So they retreat and lose 2 steps, 6 to 4. I have an advantage of 1 in Bravo, stays a 1. Advantage of 1 in Charlie, now 3. And in Echo, I have an advantage of 6. And so this is going to be advantage of 8. They retreat and lose a step. And so then ground combat, RP is a push. I get to choose 1 lane to retreat. I will choose Alpha to retreat. It'll go down to 3. And we could process the reinforcements, but at this point, it would just be folks gaining steps. Random event I had chosen to reduce everyone's cohesion value by 1. That's fine. Clean up here, OEW, deed, etc. But at the bottom line is we've reached the end here at 10 victory points ish, right? Plus or minus 1, depending on how much I misplayed those other things. And 10 victory points here, we are calling a minor victory, which, you know what, I'm okay with. First time playing this scenario. Missed up some rules here. Probably willing to bet that if I wasn't putting effort on these lines, I probably, I didn't really give up that much. So really, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 points for sitting on there, maybe 4 minus 1. Yeah, all right. So I think the degree of victory here really came down to my performance in the beginning. And so this gets back to the point that Throne Wolf had was, what's here to keep you from just saying that it gets too easy. Mechanically, the last 3 or 4 turns became fairly pro forma for me. I mean, once I locked up the air, within a certain degree, I could do what I want. I could take risks and send things without air escorts if I really wanted to do more things. There was an interesting puzzle to crack on how to lock up the follow-on forces. But really, the winning and losing in the scenario, the fact that I got a minor victory and not a major victory, and it was close, mind you, really came down to the fact that I did have 2 lanes that locked and stayed open. There's 4 victory points in this lane, 3 in this one for 7, and depending on how early they get there, they tick away a few more, and there's no getting those back. So, minor victory, pretty close to major. We'll call it a moderate victory. Anyway, great game. I've really been enjoying playing this all week. Fits in a nice box, great production value. An interesting system for an air war game at an appropriate level of abstraction. And a great solitaire title that has high decision density, particularly in the early game. These air planning phases are great. And like I said, it sticks pretty well with Doctrine. This is how one would want to do it. And if one were fictitiously an air campaign planner for NATO, you would want to focus on getting air superiority and suppressing enemy air defenses and getting to allocating resources towards the ground once you had a more permissive air environment. So great game. Everyone in the channel, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciated having you here today and joining me in the chat. Specific thank you to Tom from Hollandspiele and the Hollandspiele company. Just again, a great game. Really enjoyed it, and thanks for promoting the channel. All of you that are joining on YouTube, thank you. Please like, comment, and share the video. You can find me as Alec on Board Game Geek, ALECC, AlecMG on Twitter and Twitch. and the community that we have on Reddit is /r/hexencounter. So please do come by at some point and join in the conversation. With that, thank you for joining me today, and have a great night, everyone.